Do you think the midterms revealed anything saying, you know what, the GOP might be able to separate itself from Trump? 314-436-7900. You can call in, you can text. We'd love to hear from you because I know I'm not the only one who feels that I have no representation politically, and the Trump narrative and the stolen election is exhausting. There's got to be some competent Republican leaders with character out there.
And I just don't think that if he's defeated as a Republican, he's going to go away. I just don't. Because part of it is, while he's running for president, I think there's certainly a factor of trying to get away from legal issues. You know what I'm saying? So I think that while he's running for president, he feels a little insulated from that. Who's to stop him from running as an independent?
I mean,
I don't think he wants to lose.
Maybe not, but I mean, I think this is part of the problem, and this is what we just saw really in the midterms, is it doesn't take many people staying home to change an election, right? I mean, we just talked about it yesterday with Kari Lake telling the McCain Republicans, we don't want you. Go away. Well, they did. And guess how? And you lost by a fraction of a percentage point.
To that point, I don't doubt that Trump would rather see a Democratic victory rather than another Republican beat him. I would not put that past him.
Interesting. All right, well, we'll talk about this more later. As Amy said, 314-436-7900. If you want to throw in your text, we will have time later in the show to revisit all of that. Coming up next, we need to revisit the news that was breaking yesterday. It turns out it was a different story with that missile that hit inside of Poland. We'll explain what we know now next up on the show.
Well, if your business has 5 or more employees and you managed to survive the past couple of years with COVID restrictions and shutdowns, inflation and supply chain issues, well, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. And as the name implies, it is a rebate. There's no payback. This isn't a loan. It's a refund of your taxes. Here's the website, getrefunds.com. getrefunds.com. The team of tax attorneys they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. They do all the work, so you do not have to worry about all of the government red tape and the confusing language. There's no charge up front. They simply share a percentage of the cash that they get for you. Now, businesses of all types can qualify. So even if your company took PPP, even if you're a nonprofit, even if you saw an increase in sales, you could be eligible. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. Getrefunds.com.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
There are better ways to spend your time than shopping for Medicare. With enrollment ending December 7th, let Health Markets find your plan. Visit shop.healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency in all 50 states and D.C. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products. Service and product availability varies by state. Sales agents may be compensated based on a consumer's enrollment in the health plan. No obligation to enroll. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all your options.
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money, at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health, suicide, or substance use crisis, call, text, or chat 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. When you call, text, or chat 988, trained crisis specialists will listen to your concerns, provide support, and get you the help you need. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988. A message from the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
Local news and information direct to your smart speaker. Just say, play KMOX.
All right, so yesterday, late in the show, we had the breaking news that a Russian-made missile had landed in Poland, hitting a farm, I believe was the story, and killing 2 people.
Yep.
And that set off the trend on Twitter of World War III. And we obviously talked about the story itself and played a little bit from Jim Talent talking about Russia and, you know, basically them being our adversary and all of that. And thankfully today it sounds like that was all, not I don't want to say totally in error, but the investigation found that this missile was not launched from Russia. In fact, sounds like it may have been sent off or fired off by Ukraine and landed in Poland. So they're not really being specific about it. But the story today is it was not fired by Russian forces. And that's coming from the president. That's coming from the international community. So World War III's off. Whew.
All right. Well, man, I was worried there, for a minute. But here's the problem with it. Everybody was wrong. I mean, the initial reports were wrong. But can you blame people on the ground for assuming that's what it was? Russia has been firing indiscriminately into Ukraine for months now. So why would you not think that they missed and they hit Poland?
And their
equipment isn't all that great.
Right. Like we said, shoddy military equipment, some of it Soviet era, and they're not known for their surgical precision. So it would not be surprising if a couple of missiles that were just 4 miles from the Ukrainian border landed in Poland. Right now, they're saying that it was most likely Ukrainian missiles, perhaps anti-aircraft artillery. So even if it were Ukrainian missiles that fired either haphazardly or missed or something, that it's obviously the burden of culpability is still on Russia because they're the aggressor.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, indirectly, you're still the cause of this military action. So, yeah, you could put it that way. I do think, though, this is kind of what I was getting at yesterday when I was like, okay, but people need to calm down. Like, we don't need to escalate. We don't need to decide we know before we know. I would agree that if I were on the ground in Poland and I saw something that was maybe Russian made that had gone off, and my first thought would be, oh, crap, these guys, you got to be kidding me. But we're all on the outside, and we don't need to run along with that because an investigation was clearly going to happen, and we were going to find out a little more definitively what did or did not happen within a very short amount of time. And here we are, we're 20 hours later, and everybody involved, from the Polish government to the president of the United States, are all saying, nope, this was not a missile fired by Russia. They're not saying exactly where it came from, but it sounds like it might be Ukraine.
Which would be best case scenario for all parties involved, because Russia doesn't look incompetent, doesn't look like they,
for their perspective,
from their perspective, like, oh no, it wasn't us messing up.
We didn't screw up. You guys did. Yeah.
NATO can say we don't have to do anything.
It's an accident.
It was an accident.
Right.
And Ukraine could say we're just trying to defend ourselves. So this would be a great answer if this is truly what it is, or at least what the global community
And what
is
they
going
said was
with.
it was Russian made. Well, you can't. I mean, Ukraine clearly is going to have some Russian made munitions, right? I mean, they were a part of the Soviet Union for a very long time. I mean, it's not like that would be an outlandish thing for them to have.
Yeah.
I know they're
No.
getting a lot from the rest of the world. They're getting a lot from us as well. It doesn't mean that that's all that we're using. So just wanted to update that story because, it's one of those deals where initially it seems like, initially it's a big deal. And it's one of the things that, as you look at not just on Twitter, but again, with news organizations immediately saying, Russian-made missile launched from Russia hits Poland. That was what they were told by people on the ground in the moment. Again, that can be wrong and corrected. And obviously what we're getting, and by the way, even if this is just a convenient explanation, we still stand by the whole thing. It's good that World War III is called off.
Right, because it would have been believable that something ridiculous, seemingly unreasonable, an action like that would have been taken by an egomaniacal totalitarian dictator like Vladimir Putin. You can't expect him to take actions that make sense to the rest of us.
I don't know about you're right.
You say you're glad that there's no World War III, but I'm starting to think that, everything's weird already. Might as well just get it out of the way.
Gosh,
Raji.
Raji,
Get it-
go away.
Come on,
Get it out of the
dude.
way.
What's wrong with you?
Let's just do it.
He's the worst.
Seriously.
314-436-7900.
All right, we got more. We got more text from you coming up later on. Our friend
Just
Rich
do
Rubino.
it.
Rich
Rip
Rubino's
the Band-Aid.
Rich Rubino's going to join us next if you shut up.
The time has arrived to introduce a world-class stadium to soccer fans throughout the region.
To the left side of the box, he can pick a pass with the left foot of the byline, cuts it
St.
back.
Louis
Off the
City
deflection
2 host Bundesliga powerhouse Bayer Leverkusen at City Park in an international friendly.
Right foot ball in front. Olstruck, he scores!
History will be made tonight. Pre-game coverage begins at 6, kickoff at 7, and you can hear it exclusively on KMOX and KMOX.com. We were built for this.
KMOX News Time is 10:28. Donate a car, get a tax receipt, and tickets to the St. Louis Aquarium at mersgoodwill.org.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now your Bite This Network traffic report. It looks like every vehicle in the country is currently headed to Hardee's for a saucy A1 double cheeseburger for only $2.99. You heard that right. Every single car, truck, and annoying electric scooter thing all heading to Hardee's. But don't take a detour. Hit the brakes on your hunger with a Charbroil double deal. Bite into the new A1 double cheeseburger for only $2.99, only at Hardee's. Tax not included. Available for limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price may vary. A1 is a registered trademark of Kraft Foods used with permission.
At 10:30, cloudy skies. It's 34 degrees. It feels like 25 downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel. Breaking news out of Los Angeles. A fire spokesman says 22 Los Angeles County Sheriff's recruits have been hit by a car while on a training run, 5 critically injured. Analysts say the government's report on retail sales shows a stronger economy than expected. Retail sales rose 1.3% last month. Morgan Stanley has revised its forecast for growth in the October through December quarter to 1.7%. Walt Disney World picked a developer to construct and operate an affordable housing development for which the entertainment company is donating 80 acres of land. Company officials saying the Michaels organization will build, own, and operate a 1,300-unit development, a goal to ease the housing market for service workers in Metro Orlando, where it has become increasingly difficult for lower wage workers to find places to live.
It's Tuesday, we're closed.
Weekends only. The locally owned furniture store that's only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is going out of business. Furniture Today reports 70-year-old owner Tom Phillips is retiring. 5 St. Louis area stores, 2 in Indianapolis, and 1 in Springfield, Missouri will close. Liquidation sales are expected in January. Watch for a stalled vehicle 70 westbound before Adelaide. It's on the right shoulder. There's a stall 44 westbound to Big Bend. That should be cleared any minute now. And a stall 64 westbound past Kings Highway. The center lane is closed in that area. The KMOX forecast for this afternoon, breezy and cold. Could see some snow flurries or a snow shower in spots this afternoon and early evening, the high 36. Cloudy and cold tonight, the low of 23. A bit of a warm up tomorrow. Partly sunny skies, the high 44. It's cloudy now, 34. It feels like 25 downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel, KMOX News.
No one's more locked into the NFL than First and Pod.
If I'm the Jets, I would trade for Kareem Hunt tomorrow by the end of this podcast. Makes too much sense. He was like barely used. This is the perfect situation.
Why do you want to trade for a 1-year running back just to...
If I'm the Jets?
Yeah.
I think Hunt's still maybe not a top 15 running back, but I think he's a top 25 running back.
Subscribe to First and Pod on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Be a part of St. Louis's newest holiday tradition at the Rep. Journey into the magical wonderland of the timeless classic, A Christmas Carol. Performances November 18th through December 30th. Tickets on sale at repstl.org.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman. You can find us online at claymangroup.com, KLAMEN group.com. We've been buying a lot of houses lately with foundation and water damage. So if you have a house that has water issues, maybe water's coming in the basement or problems from previous water damage such as mold, we're interested in making you an all-cash offer. If you have a house with water or mold damage, foundation issues, please reach out. Complete the form online and start the conversation today. claymangroup.com, KLAMEN group.com.
Yeah, I was just at a convention with for one of the major manufacturers, and they were showing all the new products, and we were discussing all the new regulations that are starting in January. With that being said, there are new changes coming up next year. But if you want to get ahead of the curve and you think you're going to replace it, but you don't want to replace the system now, here's what I'm willing to do. I can buy all the equipment if you want to buy it now and put it in at a later date. I have a feeling it's going to save you 20%, 30%, which is huge on a furnace and air conditioner. If your system is 15, 20 years or older and you know you're going to do it, probably not time to be putting it off. I mean, we have 0% financing for up to 60 months if you qualify. I can help you out. Call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Just this one name, Bart Inman. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Your home of the Cardinals.
Arenado swings and hits it deep to left field. That ball is out of here.
The Billikens.
Jumper. Yes! Billikens win!
The Chiefs.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
We are America's sports voice, KMOX.
All right, 10:35 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Chorus, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Just want a quick reminder. We have gotten a ton of text messages in reaction to the story from last night of Donald Trump declaring that he is running in 2024. We're going to get to as many of those responses as we can coming up at 12 o'clock. Maybe sometimes before that, but for sure at 12 o'clock, we're going to be getting through all of those. So it's 314-436-7900. Some really interesting responses from our listeners. And by the way, if you want to do that on the voicemail line, you're welcome to at 314-944-1120. Right now, we get to catch up with our friend Rich Rubino. Of course, Rich is political historian, author of the Great American Political Trivia Challenge, Political Trivia on Steroids. He's joining us on the Quiver River guest line. Rich, good morning. Thanks for joining us. How you doing today?
Good morning. Doing well. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Glad to do it. And obviously, we have all these questions about various things in the way the world is. And, we expected a bigger change in Congress than what we're going to get. The red wave was not as big of a wave, as much smaller version of, water coming ashore. But we wanted to talk to you a bit about the history of the divided Congress and when the margins are this close in both the House and the Senate. And, You know,
sure.
what this has meant in the past when we've had this kind of, I don't know, do we call it balance or equity? I don't know how you want to phrase it.
Well, you know, the one I find most interesting, and it's kind of been lost to history, was back in 1916. Woodrow Wilson gets reelected, barely beats Charles Evans Hughes. Woodrow Wilson is a Democrat, but in the House of Representatives, Republicans picked up 19 seats. So this is significant because it gave the Republicans literally a 215 to 214 majority. This was the day after the election, but you don't hear about coalition governments in America. You hear about them in parliamentary systems. What the Democrats did, there were essentially 6 members of the Progressive Party and 1 socialist, and the Democrats formed a coalition. So they formed a coalition with those members, and they agreed to essentially caucus with the Democrats. In turn, the Democrats took over the majority, even though they actually were in the minority right after the election. And there was one other example that's fascinating. 1930, Herbert Hoover was president. In the midst of the Great Depression, the party lost about 52 seats, but it appeared that they actually had a 218 to 216 majority, the absolute minimum that you can get. This is probably Kevin McCarthy, you know, the worst case scenario for him being speaker, having a 1-vote majority. But what happened between election day and inauguration day for the United States Congress is, get this, 14 members elect of Congress all died, including the speaker, including Nicholas Longworth, the sitting Speaker of the House. So by the time the actual inauguration of Congress rolled around, the Democrats had an edge of 219 to 12. These were all fortuitous circumstances. 14-member elects literally died in that interim.
Okay, so I read about that a couple of days ago, and I said we have to get Rich on because I need to know how in the world did 14 people die between an election and the start of, was it the 72nd Congress?
Yeah, this was all complete happenstance. It was not some sort of a conspiracy. It was not a murder. It was just a happenstance. That they remember. So based on in today's Congress, you have 435 voting members and then 5 non-voting delegates. Usually you have a couple of death or 2 in a Congress, but just by a weird coincidence and really fate, the Democrats took over simply because of that. But those were really the 2, 1916 and 1930. Those were the 2 literally closest. So we have kind of been here before, and those were the 2 that I would really give as examples.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I'm thinking that would be, if that happened today, something like that.
Oh.
Can you imagine the outcry? I mean, it would be so bizarre. It's bizarre now looking back at it.
And the conspiracy theories.
The conspiracy theories would be through the roof.
I bet Twitter was nuts back then.
Twitter was blowing up back then.
1931.
Friendster was as well.
What did all of that lead to? Like, what is this kind of evenly balanced House and Senate with slight advantages, especially when the 2 houses will be split as well, where the House of Representatives will be on the Republican side, the Senate's going to be on the Democratic side. What has it meant in the past, and how does that even compare to now? Because it feels like we hear all these stories, Rich, of, you know, back in the day, we'd cross the aisle and we'd make deals and talk to each other, and, well, you can't do that anymore. Was that even the reality back then?
Yeah, there's always deals made, and there's always minor pieces of legislation that pass or stuff that's non-controversial, like the Cures Act passed in the Obama administration that nobody ever talks about. But so there's always stuff that does get passed, and you always also have things that are regionally that read different. You know, one congressman needs something built in his district, so he makes a deal with another congressman in a similar district. So that stuff always gets done. But what happened in the first one, the one after 1916. This is Woodrow Wilson's administration, and Woodrow Wilson had promised to keep the United States out of World War I during the election. But after he was reelected, he did go into World War I, and back then you actually had to declare a declaration of war, which the Constitution requires, and actually got overwhelming bipartisan support from both Democrats and Republicans. That was the major piece of legislation, I guess you'd call it, declaration rather. But the other thing that happened during that time period was actually a constitutional amendment. And that was one very popular on college campuses, probably not, the 18th Amendment, which outlawed alcohol, the sale of alcohol. That passed during that United States Congress. The one under Herbert Hoover, very little got passed. The Democratic Congress tried to pass legislation to try to stimulate the economy. For the most part, Hoover would veto most of that legislation. He actually got in a lot of trouble because in his first 2 years, he signed the Smoot-Hawley tariff, which increased tariffs on foreign goods, but other countries, of course, did retaliatory tariffs, and some blamed Herbert Hoover for exacerbating the Great Depression based on that. But both the 1931 to 1933 Congress was really a time generally of gridlock, and everyone was already thinking about the next election.
The other reason we wanted to talk to you is there's a runoff. We got a runoff coming.
There sure is.
We got a runoff
There sure
coming
is.
in December, and there is some controversy over the early voting period because they can vote. Well, usually with the early voting, you can vote on a Saturday, but there is a Georgia law now that was enacted in 2016 that they can't have early voting on a Saturday after a holiday. And the holiday is Robert E. Lee Day.
What?
So, yeah. All right. Is there precedent for that, for these weird voting rules?
No, they actually changed it to make it more, to say it was essentially an official holiday. Nathan Deal did that when the reformed Republican governor. So it's not actually technically called Robert E. Lee Day, but for all intents and purposes, it's celebrated. But that's one of those weird kind of Georgia statutes that essentially says, 2 days after a holiday, you cannot have early voting. You cannot have early voting on that Saturday. Raphael Warnock is trying to challenge this in court. His basic case is that this applies to a regular election or a primary, and that a runoff is kind of a loophole there. So that's basically what he is implying in this. But, the Secretary of State's office in the state of Georgia, a Republican Secretary of State's office, basically has said that they've looked at the law and they've actually were going forward with having it on Saturday. But it's basically, they say it's black letters right there. And they say essentially there's nothing that they can do about it. But the Warnock campaign certainly disagrees on that.
The old runoff loophole.
Yeah.
Who among us? Who
Yeah.
among us hasn't tried to exploit that? Okay, so speaking of random political rules, someone said this to me yesterday, and I think I tried to read the, I guess, the statute or whatever it is that would explain it. Is it true that the president and the vice president of the United States can't be from the same state?
No. So this goes back to the 12th Amendment, and
Okay.
under the 12th Amendment, what it says is electors. So to these people that you're basically, when you go to vote, you're not really voting for you're voting for president. Anyways, you're not actually voting for president. You're voting for electors from your state who will then vote for the presidential candidate. So basically, what it says is that those electors cannot support somebody for president and for vice president. So it used to be, before in the first election, for example, you would have the person who becomes president was the one who comes in first place. The person who comes in second place. So in 1796, for example, John Adams won. He became president. His arch rival Thomas Jefferson became vice president. So essentially, what it means is if in the state of Missouri, let's say Dick Gephardt was the Democratic nominee. The elector in the state of Missouri could vote for Dick Gephardt as president, and let's say somebody else from Missouri, let's say Mel Carnahan was the vice presidential nominee, they could not also vote for Mel Carnahan. But every other state, this is only one state, and Missouri obviously would be a red state, and so if Dick Gephardt were to lose Missouri anyways, it would probably be insignificant. The closest we've come when this actually became an issue, in 2000, George W. Bush picked Dick Cheney, who, of course, was actually in charge of the vice presidential search, and all of a sudden, he's picked himself. So George W. Bush was governor of Texas, and a couple of weeks before he made his selection, Dick Cheney kind of unceremoniously moved his official residence from Texas. He was living in Dallas to Wyoming, where he also had a house and used to represent Wyoming in Congress. And he did this so that if George W. Bush on election day, voters in the state of Texas could vote for Bush, and they could also vote. They could vote for the same person, Dick Cheney, as vice president. But it is not illegal, sir. It's not something that's necessarily illegal. It just says it in that state. So, if two people from Idaho essentially that are running, one for president, one for vice president, where Idaho is going to come out. But basically, Idaho's 4 electoral votes would probably be null and void because you would have to vote for somebody different for vice president. But it's not actually a law. It's just kind of it's one of those weird, archaic statutes, but part of the Constitution.
Gotcha. Okay, last question for you. And I know people talk about the Civil War and how it was a watershed when it comes to states' rights and how the country viewed the states. Is it true that before the Civil War, official language from the federal government would say these United States are. And then after the Civil War, it was referred to as the United States is.
I have not heard that directly. I do. The closest I can tell you is it was once referred to as the United Colonies originally. And this was prior to the Constitution, but I don't know if they've actually changed that, changed the wording directly.
Gotcha.
Rich, great stuff as always. Thank you for joining us. We always appreciate the perspective, and we'll definitely be doing it soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Love talking about the constitutional loophole.
Who doesn't?
Oh, that's just the best every single day. Rich, thank you so much. That's Rich Rubino, political historian, author of the Great American Political Trivia Challenge, political trivia on steroids. He joined us on the Quiver River guest line. We'll tell you what's trending next up here on the show.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomes.louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. That's chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com or call 314-328-8000.
Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. Live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/joy. JOY.
Furnish hope right here in St. Louis. Donate your unneeded furniture and household goods to Home Sweet Home. Visit www.homesweethomestl.org to learn more.
The holidays are upon us. Call Zero Res now before the rush. Get 3 rooms Zero Res clean starting at just $129 and get a free room of fiber protectant for an $80 savings plus $50 off your air ducts. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. We continue shining a light on great work by nonprofits. Meet Unleashing Potential, known by its initials UP. UP focuses on discovering and unleashing the very best in each child they assist. Busey Bank is proud to partner with Unleashing Potential to help them fulfill their mission. Listen to our November podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Dude, I'm here for the show. What show? St. Louis, this is your show. The show on KMOX.
What is it? What's happened?
What's going on? What do you know?
What just happened?
What happened?
I need to know.
Trending now on the show.
All right, trending is sponsored by Old Town Donuts in Florissant and Connellville. First thing I saw when I looked at trending, of course, being in St. Louis, City SC.
Oh, baby.
First match tonight, 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage starting at 6 o'clock. All of it here on KMOX.
City 2 match. It is a
Bayer Leverkusen.
It's a friendly, Kevin.
It's a friendly.
And it's the first match at City Park.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And by the way, it sounds like it's going to be a huge crowd.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. And guess what?
What?
We have tickets to give away.
Now? Or
Sure.
later?
We're going to give them away this show.
Amy's like,
at
yeah,
some
let's
point.
do it now.
Let's do it now,
No,
guys.
before the show is over, we are going to give away tickets for
Nice.
tonight. A pair of tickets. You have to, by the way, download the SeatGeek app in order to get them. We will do a call-in thing later in the show, and we're going to give away a pair of tickets to the first ever match at City Park tonight.
That's going to be great. Tonight, Nate Gatter is going to be on the play-by-play. He's going to join us at 12:30.
He'll be on with Simon Rose. And guess who's going to be providing the fan experience for listeners of KMOX Radio?
Gritty.
Gritty, yeah.
Yeah.
Louis.
Close.
The Blues.
Me.
Fred Bird.
I'll be there. I'll be at City Park.
Amy Bird.
Oh, my gosh.
What's the ambush mascot?
I don't know.
Do they have one?
Ambush. Yeah, I think they do.
What about the that's all we have in town, right?
I don't know.
I think we're over all the
You guys are
sports
the worst.
teams.
You're the worst.
Amy's gonna
XFL.
be
What's
there.
what's the Battle
The
Hawks?
Kaka guy.
Yeah, what's his?
He's a battle hawk.
He's a Battle Hawk. Yeah.
I know.
No.
AJ McCarron.
No, the
Amy's going to
quarterback.
be there.
AJ McCarron, the quarterback, is
Yeah.
going to be the Battle Hawks quarterback. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was the one that had the girlfriend that was attractive. That the
And Brett
broadcaster.
Musburger would not stop talking
It
about
was
it.
so weird.
Musburger's on the broadcast like,
Look at-
look at this.
what a
girlfriend.
lovely lady she
he's
is.
done well for himself.
I remember
was
watching that.
creepy.
I was watching that game, going, "What is happening
Forget the
right now?"
forget the game.
And I like Brent
Put the
too,
camera
but that's-
back on her.
That was really creepy.
So
We will
dude.
also,
Great.
I'm sure this will be part of your experience tonight, Amy, helping cover the game. We're going to be talking to Chef Gerard Kraft later on as well about the food options at the stadium. He's a part of that. Obviously, they went local for the food options at City Park. So
Yeah.
everybody gets their first taste tonight.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting.
Sorry, that was a really bad pun. I did not mean to do that.
Well, I tried to move past it, but
Never
Lucy's-
mind that. Did you see that lady in the crowd?
Okay, Brent.
Whose girlfriend is that?
Ew.
Brent Musburger.
I lost my trending because of your Brent Musburger.
There you go. But that's the
One of
big
my
one. That's the
favorite
number one
things
trend
ever.
in St. Louis. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
We are minutes away. They're going to be unveiling their shirts.
Oh, the kit, the
kit,
shirt.
The shirt.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not
going
a
to find
jersey
out.
in soccer.
And we're talking about
I'm learning.
the official St. Louis City kit, the St. Louis City shirt. We're going to get to see it in like 10
And
minutes.
apparently, there's going to be a version of it here in the
Oh,
station.
yeah,
at
we're
some
gonna
point. So
and
we'll tweet
someone-
out some pictures and stuff.
We're all going to get in it
At once.
at once.
Yeah. I don't know why. Why do I feel like a soccer shirt's not going to fit me?
Oh, it wouldn't fit you.
Soccer
shirts.
That's what I texted the boss earlier. I'm like, that's not going to fit me.
They're not made for Kevin.
There's one person in this room it's going to fit. That's Amy.
They're made for guys who run 90 miles
Yeah.
a day.
It's not going to fit you either.
No. I'm going to run this fat guy or you. It's going to be Amy will have to get in it.
Do they do XXL? No, I don't do that. I'm just a straight up XL.
You ever see? I think a fat soccer player would be I would root for that guy. If there was just a fat soccer player, I'd be like, how are you doing this?
Like what's his name? The turtle in baseball, Astudillo.
What?
The catcher, Willens,
yeah.
The guy that played for the Twins.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, or like that basketball player, Tractor Trailer.
Wait, what?
Maurice Trailer.
Robert Trailer.
They call him the Tractor Trailer?
Maurice Taylor is
was
what
a
I'm thinking of.
teammate of his, yeah.
Why do they call him that? Because he's big?
Because he's really big. I mean, he was like
big boy.
6'8", 300 something.
Didn't they call, is it Wilfork?
Vince
Wilfork?
Who was the hotel?
I think so.
I think they called him the hotel.
Also, Miami Hurricane legend, Hall of Famer.
For the Patriots?
Yep. Amazing.
By the way, ISU, my basketball team signed a guy from St. Charles, Chase Walker.
Big dude.
Yeah, he's like
Tractor Trailer.
6'9", 330.
I bet he's got a good nickname.
Basketball, going to be great.
Nice times. All right, stick around. We got coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to talk a little bit more serious situation. Some of the problems that people are carrying coming out of the COVID pandemic.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. If you have a furnace, boiler, air handler, or a heat pump that needs service, repairs, or might need to be replaced, contact us at aircomfortservice.com. We offer 24/7 emergency service, maintenance plans to keep your system operating at maximum efficiency, and free estimates if your heating system barely made it through last winter. Get in your comfort zone and heat your home safely this winter with Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Contact us at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Ask yourself, what am I doing to guarantee I will have adequate inflation-hedged income that I may never outlive? Why not make sure your future income is growing and may last as long as you do? Call for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233. And also join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio.
Let's talk real estate for a minute. The St. Louis market is kind of tricky for home sellers right now, with home values going down and not selling as quickly. Now is not the time to risk losing precious equity on your home. This is Debbie Monterey, and I always recommend calling Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's the best. She's experienced every type of market, both good, great, and the not so good. So before you list your home for sale, call Gloria, and here's why. Gloria Liu will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, guaranteed in writing. Gloria already has the buyers, thousands of buyers in her database. In fact, your home may already be sold. Gary and Angela called Gloria and sold their home even before it listed because Gloria had several buyers looking for a home in that area. Call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The holidays are here, but for some families, they'll spend that time at SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. I'm Carol Daniel. KMOX, along with all of our sister stations at our company, Odyssey STL, are again proud to partner with you and other generous St. Louisans in our community to raise funds for the Tree of Hope campaign for Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It's so easy to give. Just text the word HOPE to 20357 or KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon.
Hey, it's Trish Gazelle. Remember Old Newsboys Day? It's back this Thursday. I'll be selling papers for the benefit of children's charities at Celebrity Corner, Gravois and Lindbergh. Stop by 7 to 9 a.m. Old Newsboys Day this Thursday, November 17th, South Lindbergh at Gravois. See you there.
Becco's new dishwashers use 1/3 the energy and half the water of U.S. standards for dishwashers. And from now until December 31st, you can save up to $200 in gift card rebates on eligible models. Visit Becco.com for more details. That's Becco.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's a cloudy sky and 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. No indications the missile that fell on a Polish farm, killing 2 people about 4 miles from the Ukrainian border, was a deliberate attack. Still, the missile that landed on Polish soil is now being described as a Russian-built missile used by Ukraine to defend against the missile barrage launched by the Kremlin against Ukrainian targets. CBS's David Martin tells us the process of providing Ukraine with a better air defense system is underway.
The U.S. and NATO allies have been trying to come up with other Western-made air defense systems, one in particular called by the acronym NASAM, which was delivered to Ukraine, the first 2 packages delivered to Ukraine earlier this month. And Defense Secretary Austin said this morning that so far it has been 100% effective.
Martin also says that even with a better air defense system as it becomes available, will not give Ukraine total protection against the large numbers of missiles that Russia targets against it. Early this morning, NASA successfully launched the Artemis rocket, boosting its Orion capsule on a long-awaited flight to the moon. CBS News correspondent Mark Strassman's at the Kennedy Space Center with more.
The flash from the controlled explosion under the rocket turned night into day. And then there was the rumble of nearly 9 million pounds of thrust and the sonic wave that washed over all of us standing on this roof and made the roof shudder. You can expect to see some remarkable images in the days ahead. This spacecraft has 13 cameras on board. Images you'll see all the way to December 11th, the scheduled splashdown off the coast of San Diego.
It's a big day for soccer fans.
Today will be the first ever match day at City Park. It's been a long time coming as they've been putting the finishing touches here on the stadium, the new MLS soccer stadium here in downtown West. And ever since September, it's been kind of slow go because of some power issues. And the first ever game was supposed to be played back then, but now all of those issues are behind them, and they're moving forward with the game today with City 2 taking on Germany's Bayer Leverkusen. Now, all of the festivities today, they begin at noon as the St. Louis City SC will reveal the new kit for next season. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying jersey. And for the parade that's going to start, that's starting at Schlafly. The St. Louligans are doing that. That starts at 4 o'clock. They'll make their way over to the stadium with gates opening at 5:30. First kick, 7:08 tonight. KMOX will air the game right here on 1120 and 98.7 FM. At City Park in downtown West, I'm Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk analysts say the government's report on retail sales shows a stronger economy than expected, but there are still troubling signs.
Retail sales rose 1.3% last month, and Morgan Stanley has revised its forecast for growth in the October through December quarter to 1.7%. Ted Rossman at Bankrate.com ticks off some positive signs.
E-commerce did really well. There were a lot of early holiday sales. Bars and restaurants did really well.
But he says there's evidence that people are pulling back on big ticket items at electronics and appliance stores. Target reported a 52% drop in profit in its third quarter. Allison Keys, CBS News.
The Dow from Stifel's up 28 points to 33,621. And we've got a stall 70 west past the airport. That's on the left shoulder. Stall 270 south before Dorset. That's on the right shoulder. And 44 east on the ramp from 64 west, 170 north at Airport Road on the right shoulder.
KMOX AccuWeather, it's going to be breezy and cold. Clouds, a few sunny breaks, and also some flurries and even a snow shower in spots this afternoon. This evening, the high 36. Very cold down to 23 tonight. Not as cold tomorrow, up to 44 with sun and clouds. Colder Friday, low to mid 30s, and then back in the low 40s, breezy and cold feeling for the weekend. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Justine DeVore, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Cloudy and 34 in Florissant, 34 in St. Peters, and 35 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
All right, it's 11:05 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, course, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And we're joined here to start this hour by Dr. Kyle John. He's the Clinical Vice President of Behavioral Health across Mercy, and he's joining us on the Quiver River guest line. And we're obviously talking about COVID depression, and there's a lot to this that you may not think of off the top of your head. And we're very happy to have Dr. John with us. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, awesome to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, I recently read in a New York Times article that there's a study looking at 2021 and how more than half of American adults reported symptoms of a major depressive disorder after experiencing a coronavirus infection, and that the risk of developing these depressive symptoms and other mental health disorders remains high up to a year after the COVID infection. And I think all of us, most of us have had COVID. All of us know someone who's had COVID, and bouncing back has been really difficult. And I think sometimes a lot of us have felt, okay, are we just tired? Are we overwhelmed? Or is this an actual, maybe a symptom of long COVID, feeling kind of depressed? Is that something that more and more doctors are noticing?
Yes, it actually is. And there's really kind of two increases in psychiatric disorders like depression and anxiety since the pandemic. You know, the first relates to the general population and all the stress that we experienced from our isolation and our changes in our work and school. Our stress levels have gone up. Our sleep has been disrupted. The anxiety of worrying about, what if I get the infection? Maybe a family member has struggled. Maybe you lost a family member or a friend to the COVID-19. And so in general, lots of folks are reporting up to about a 25% increase in depression and anxiety. That's one group. The second group is actual people who have been diagnosed with the COVID infection and then have experienced a higher rate of anxiety or depression. And that's the big question. Is it related specifically to the infection, the virus, the body's response to the virus, and some of this COVID long haul type of stuff? And of course, it's so new that we're just beginning really to research this and try to determine if there's an intrinsic, I had the illness, and now I have a higher risk for depression, or, that compared to the entire population, just the response to the pandemic and the increase in anxiety and depression specifically.
I don't know if it's so much like this anymore. I know in the beginning when somebody would contract COVID, there was that feeling of, oh no, I got it, because we didn't know a ton about it at the time. And that probably lasted for that first year. But I wonder if people are not as concerned about actually contracting it. So do you think it is still affecting mental health in the sense that if somebody gets the thing, that they feel like this is really bad, oh no, what am I going to do?
Well, I think people are still anxious about getting the illness and having a significant complication that might land them in the hospital. But you're correct. I think that anxiety, and there almost felt like there was a stigma early on of, oh, what did I do wrong?
Right. Yes.
I didn't wash my hands. I didn't cover my mouth. I did something wrong, and shame on me for contracting this. And now, given the history of this pandemic, I think folks are much more comfortable recognizing, well, maybe the same way I approach the flu, right? I can get a flu shot. I can stay home if I've got a fever, if I've got symptoms. I can cover my mouth. I can wear a mask if I have to go out and I think I could be infectious, but there's much less of that. There's something wrong with me because I contracted COVID. So, and, the other part of that is we're figuring out kids can be in school safely. We don't have to put everybody on camera to do their job or attend school, that type of thing. We can get back to our normal activities if we take those appropriate, precautions of really not engaging in that. If we think if we know we're symptomatic. Sometimes we don't know. There's nothing you can do about that. But that's the real behavioral change that has to come out of this pandemic, that, we're really good about pushing through, right? Going to school, pushing our kids to go to school, or going to work ourselves if we're a little under the weather. Well, now if you've got symptoms of an infection, a fever, a cough, especially a productive cough, whatever, you need to stay home and stay away from other folks. But I do think it's getting better in terms of that anxiety or almost stigma associated with the infection that we saw initially.
What about that psychology of, because I thought the same thing when COVID came around, people were much more mindful, and the work policies were that you had to stay home if you had it. But it used to be leading up to that people a lot of times would power through their illness and go to work anyway. So if you had the flu, you'd probably still show up to work because you felt bad taking off work. It seems we've kind of gone back to that a bit, like where people are not so conscious of, I'm sick right now, I should probably stay home. They're going to work anyway if they got a cough or if they've got a sore throat or whatever. Have you noticed a change like that?
Yeah, I think so. And again, that's the take-home lesson from the pandemic is, will we as a society change our behavior for the greater good, so to speak? So, those are the examples when we should be. Maybe we don't feel so bad that we can't work, but we know we shouldn't be at work. So that's when we call our boss and say, hey, I've got these symptoms and I don't want to infect the whole office. I'm going to work from home today, and monitor. And if I feel better and this is just a 24-hour thing, I'll be back tomorrow. But if not, I'm going to stay home. I think how quickly we forget, right? What it was like a year and a half ago. But that's a change as a society that we could make. We need to be better about being mindful of, this isn't all about me. I care about my colleagues and their families and, the risks of them getting infected and what that would do. So I'm hopeful that eventually folks will start to get it, and that even that will infiltrate our school and employment policies that, hey, we want you to work, and that's why you're here, but we don't want you working in person if you're have symptoms of an infection.
As we look at those struggling with, feeling depressed after COVID, and I know we have to account for the compounding or complicating factors like isolation, fear, losing loved ones. But even when you take that out and you look at people who have actually been sick with the virus, we know that there's inflammation. We know that there can be a hyper overactive response from your immune system, and that can also mess up your gut bacteria. Are doctors able to draw a line between issues, quantifiable issues like inflammation or gut bacteria post-COVID and then subsequent depressive disorders?
I don't think they can yet. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's really the hot area for research within the mental health world is there a direct cause and effect? We know about, as you mentioned, inflammation being a risk factor for all kinds of illnesses, to include psychiatric illnesses, and how our gut biome can be affected by illness and by things like antibiotics and our diet, and how those things could be beneficial, open a door to improvement. But I really think in the next year or two, that's the research that needs to be done. And what I've read from bigger institutions, Harvard and Stanford, Johns Hopkins, those kinds of institutions, they are currently researching that, trying to determine, is there a direct effect of the inflammation from the virus changing brain chemistry? There's some research that suggests that the blood-brain barrier, which is kind of this internal protective layer that keeps certain things in our bloodstream and out of the brain, if you will, that could be disrupted by the virus. Inflammation in itself is thought to be a potential etiology for all kinds of illnesses, to include psychiatric illnesses. So I think in a year or two, we'll have some more definitive, really database, something we can look back and say, yes, we actually researched 1,000 or 10,000 patients, and we drew these blood cultures, or we did these studies, and based on that, we really think there is a direct cause and effect. I think all of us in science kind of are leaning that direction because we've seen it in other areas of medicine. But there's so much about getting the infection. If you think about folks that were hospitalized, potentially in the ICU, and what that does in terms of increased risk for things like depression, anxiety, PTSD, waking up one day and your roommate's not there because they passed away, and thinking, am I next? And being on a ventilator, all those things can have an impact. But I think eventually in the next year or two, we'll have some definitive answers regarding, does the inflammation from this type of infection directly lead to a, let's say, 10 or 15% higher risk of depression or anxiety?
So a quick follow-up on that then. If someone feels like they have been down after COVID, how do they know if they're dealing with something that's temporary or clinical depression? And what are some signs that maybe they should call someone for help?
Yeah, that's a great question. And sometimes you just don't know. Depression, maybe we define it a little bit by its duration. How many months have you had the symptom of sadness or irritability? And, thinking about our criteria for depression and, after a COVID infection, how long should you wait? When does it become just an adjustment to the fact that I was sick to an actual diagnosable mental illness? And I would say some good rules of thumb are when the symptoms begin to impair your ability to complete those tasks of daily tasks, whether it's parenting, whether it's your job, if you're in school, your ability to do your schoolwork. When your performance begins to be affected, it's time to reach out to somebody. Now, you might say, well, I haven't slept quite as well since I had the COVID infection. Okay, I don't know that I would run to the doctor. Yeah, there's some good things you can learn about sleep hygiene, probably online, and do some things to try to improve. But I think when you start having symptoms of depression or anxiety that impair your ability to complete your activities, daily living, whatever those may be, then it's time to seek help. And the best place always to seek help is really with your primary care provider, pediatrician, internist, family physician, a women's health provider. I always recommend patients go there unless there's a true crisis, somebody that's feeling suicidal. And of course, goes without, you can't not mention the fact that we have the 988 suicide prevention lifeline that went live this year. And so if folks are in a true behavioral health crisis, calling 911 to get to the ED, calling 988 to get connected quickly with somebody that can help in your area, you should always do. But if you're not in a true behavioral health crisis, start with your primary care provider. Let them do a physical exam. Let them do a mental status exam and ask the questions that need to be asked to try to help determine, is this gone into the realm of a major depression now? Is it still kind of an adjustment to the illness? And they will know what to do, whether it's to start treatment in the office, whether it's to refer you to a therapist, both. It's always a good place to start.
Dr. John, we really appreciate the information. Thank you so much. I know we're going to learn a lot in the coming months and years, and I'm sure we'll circle back at some point here in the not too distant future. We appreciate you joining us here on the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks so much for covering this.
Glad to do it. That's Dr. Kyle John, Clinical Vice President of Behavioral Health across the Mercy Health System. And again, 988 if you're in crisis mode and if you need to follow up or just aren't sure whether or not you're dealing with symptoms of depression or anxiety, whether it's related to COVID or not. As Dr. John said, check with your primary care doctor. That'll be your best bet to get the help that you need right out of the gate. All right, coming up after the break, we had an announcement at the top of the hour. I mentioned we teased it in the trending segment. We now know what the kit looks like.
The kits are out.
City kit.
City kit shirt.
The city kit is out. We'll let you know what it looks like. We'll retweet some things as well, but I got that coming up for you next on the show.
I have a great way for you to get into the holiday spirit. And actually, now is the time to act if you would like to join me and the Salvation Army in their Angel Tree program. Now, the Angel Tree program has been a tradition since 1979, and it serves millions of children every year. What is the Angel Tree program? Well, it's a way for us in the community to help buy Christmas gifts for children who would otherwise not have any gifts to open this holiday season. In fact, last year alone, the Salvation Army Angel Tree program provided Christmas gifts for over 4,000 children in the greater St. Louis area. Now, here's the thing. We only have until November 29th, to buy your gift for the child that you will be helping this Christmas season, and then make sure those gifts get to the Salvation Army so the Salvation Army can get the gifts to the family. Now, you can go to a physical angel tree. That will be a tree that will be at a shopping mall, a corporation, a church, an organization. You pick an ornament off the tree. It will have a list of that child's wants or needs. Or you can do this. salarmymidland.org. salarmymidland.org. Click on Adopt an Angel, and you'll be able to pick a child to shop for with that child's specific Christmas wants and needs. And you can truly make Christmas come true for a child in need right here in your area. salarmymidland.org.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
If you or someone you know is experiencing a suicide, mental health, or substance use crisis, call, text, or chat 988. There's hope. The Lifeline works. 988 for 24/7 confidential support. A message from the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Procrastination. We've all been there. But have you been dragging your feet when it comes to creating your retirement plan? I've heard it all from, I have time before I need to make a decision, or I'll eliminate debt first and then get ready for retirement. I've seen far too many people waste valuable time for their retirement planning, and I don't want you to be one of them. Hi, I'm Ken Heisey with Heisey Advisory Group. I'm on a mission to help people recognize the potential destructive impact procrastination can have on their retirement plan. Don't procrastinate. Call us today at 314-328-4400 to ensure you get on the right path toward your retirement dream. That's 314-328-4400, 314-328-4400.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-5555. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, behind on taxes houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-5555. That's 314-782-5555.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
As we mentioned about a half an hour ago during the trending segment, you've got the opening of City Park tonight, the first official match at City Park. It's going to be City 2 against Bayer Leverkusen. And I don't believe they're wearing the new kit tonight.
No.
But the new kit has been unveiled. Obviously, easy. Lots of places you can find it. Best places, STL City SC on Twitter, because they've got a video that shows, kind of what they did and why they did it. You got the colors. Guys, are you surprised that it's red?
Yeah, kind of.
Wait, I
Are
thought
you
we
really?
knew this.
No.
It was
got
a joke, Amy.
Okay.
It's a joke.
So
You looked so serious.
Join us, Amy.
I like, what are you talking about?
So I knew it was going to incorporate the colors of the St. Louis flag,
right?
Which is a deep navy blue, a little bit of yellow trim, but it is a red kit. It is a red shirt. I think it looks really good with the Purina logo on the front, right across the front.
As an aside, and because that doesn't bother me in the least, isn't it interesting that like soccer fans worldwide have no issue with sponsorships on the team uniforms?
It's been that way forever.
Yet when you ask anybody who's a baseball, football, basketball, they're like, no, that's the worst thing in the history of the world, damn it. And like, no, it's actually not a noticeable thing. I mean,
First of
seriously,
all,
like
I didn't
people,
cuss when I said that.
What?
Yeah, Amy.
I
she
didn't
did.
cuss when I said it would be the worst thing in the
You
history
said,
of the
dang
world.
it.
Yeah, she swore.
Yeah.
She's very mad about the advertising because she thinks this
Not for
world is too
soccer.
corporate.
Yeah, that's right. Not for soccer. It's perfect for soccer. That's what soccer is, like NASCAR. What would NASCAR be without corporate advertisements? But you're telling me you would not feel sad if the Yankee pinstripes were completely replaced with Wonder Bread bubbles.
If you're changing the whole uniform as opposed to slapping a patch on it, yeah. If you're slapping a patch on it, that's fine.
Yeah, because the Blues helmets have advertisements on it. You see Stiefel and
It's totally
Enterprise.
fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
And if you put it on the hockey sweater somewhere, fine too.
But if you had to switch and you would no longer have the birds on bat, that would be sad.
Nobody's arguing that. That's not
Well,
what anybody does in soccer.
Maybe they want to do it. But no, I think they look great. Love having Purina.
I think it's
I love
seriously,
having Purina.
It's a St. Louis company. It looks fantastic on there. And
it does.
And if you're not thinking of it, you're never going to be like, oh, look.
There's
It just
also
looks normal. It looks like a part of the kit.
That's the sport.
Right.
Yes, I like it.
there is also an Adidas logo on the top right, so
Yeah.
above the right part, and there's an Apple TV logo on the sleeve.
Yep.
So I'm
And I
games
think
are going to
there's
be on
also-
Apple TV.
I think there's also a BJC patch on the other sleeve
Mhm.
and obviously a few other things. But, I mean, it looks good, man. It does.
I think it's really sharp. I really
I
like
like it.
Do I get to keep the one that they're bringing into the studio?
No. One of the fat guys gets to keep it.
Oh, no.
One of the
no.
fat guys in this room gets to
Amy
keep it.
gets it.
I
It's not
really
going to
like
fit
this.
one of us, Ranj. It's just not.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Here's what I do know. We have an underrated city flag.
We
and there is
do.
a city flag.
Amen.
The city of St. Louis there's a flag on the jersey as well.
Mhm. I love this.
We have such a
Love
good
this.
flag. It's very well designed. Colors are great. I'm into it. I like this kit.
I love this kit.
Celebrate your St. Louis city flag too.
I'm getting one.
Get a hat with it on there.
Look at Ranji going all respect the flag on us. Except
Respect
it's
the flag. Love it or leave it. These colors don't run.
All right, Ranji has a random question for Amy and I think you might be able to answer it on the text line as well. We'll hit that next on the show.
I only know what life looks like and feels like through my eyeballs.
It's my
I wonder if anyone is where they thought they would be. I'm not where I thought I would be even 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Life changes so much. Yeah, hey, make your plans, do what you want to do, whether it's marriage or kids or your job or your health.
Discover the life of Dave Glover.
I'm surprised at how surprising life is.
Weekday afternoons beginning at 2, only on KMOX.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
Hey there, it's Hancock and Kelly for First Mid-Bank and Trust, a local bank right here in St. Louis with over 157 years of experience and 19 locations across the greater St. Louis area.
Yeah, First Mid-Bank and Trust is perfect for small business owners. You need a partner that you can count on, and that is First Mid-Bank and Trust, and they're great for everybody, whether you're saving for your first home, paying off debt, or planning for retirement. Check them out online, firstmid.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman at ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct. If you're thinking about selling, but you're not sure where you're going to go after you sign a contract with a buyer, if you sell to us, we can provide a flexible closing date for you. And once we've written a contract, we can actually adjust the closing date if you need to move it up or you need to move it back at any time. Find us at ClaymanGroup.com. and simplify your sale by closing on your timeline. KLAMEN Group.com.
At 11:30 right now, we've got clouds and 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. St. Louis City SC has revealed its kit. And let's take you live to Purina and KMOX's Stuart McMillan.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I'm inside the lobby area for Purina here on Shoto. And we just got done unveiling the brand new kit for the team. It's a beautiful, bright city red is the official color of what they're calling it. And Purina is slapped on the front. It has the crest in the top left breast pocket area. Apple TV has a logo on one of the sleeves. MLS is on there as well. It is lined with yellow on the sides with a red front and 3 blue, very dark blue stripes on the shoulders as well. So it definitely captures that essence of the St. Louis colors. It even has the St. Louis flag. A little miniature flag on the bottom of the jersey. So it looks to be very St. Louis-like for sure as Purina releases the brand new kits for the new St. Louis City SC team for next season. Michael?
Thank you very much. Stuart McMillan live at the Purina headquarters, one of the major sponsors for City SC. Their logo on the front of the jersey, as you just heard. And the inaugural match at City Park will be live on KMOX tonight as City 2 faces Bayer Leverkusen. That kicks off at 7 p.m. on KMOX. We've got a stall 70 west past the airport on the left shoulder, 270 south before Dorset on the right shoulder, and I-170 north at the airport on the right shoulder. And the forecast for this afternoon, clouds, some sunny breaks, some flurries, even a snow shower in spots into this evening with a high today of 36. Overnight, the low 23. Tomorrow's high 44 with a mix of sun and clouds. Right now, clouds and 35 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Mosby Building Arts.
Mosby Building Arts here, asking what your dream bathroom looks like. Glam and gorgeous, modern and masculine, beachy and bodacious. One thing's for sure, nobody's style is old and ugly. So do yourself a favor and call Mosby for a brand new bathroom that's just your style.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. If having turkey for the holidays, buy from a local farm, get one labeled USDA organic or certified humane. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
The Vietnam War united and divided our nation. A fracture still felt 5 decades later. Vietnam, at War and at Home, a new exhibit at Soldiers Memorial Military Museum, examines how the St. Louis region contributed to the dramatic storylines of this pivotal period of war, protest, tragedy, and change. From photos of the front lines to popular music, to the experiences of those who served and the refugees who fled and settled here, the exhibit illuminates the Vietnam era and offers connections to today.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomeSt.Louis.com and get your any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com or call 314-328-8000.
Friday night, it's women's Billikens basketball action as they take on Green Bay, Wisconsin. Pre-game 6:47, tip at 7. Hear the game here on your home for Billikens basketball, KMOX.
11:35 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Man, Amy's wearing the new shirt. Ranj just tested it out.
This
Look
is
at that.
sweet.
Should we
I'm
talk
so
about
glad
the
I get to keep
conversation we
this.
had during the break when we were doing this?
No.
Let's talk about this real
First
quick.
of all, I
Yeah.
didn't bring it up.
No. So the new kit has been brought in. Our boss Steve Moore brought a
Yeah.
couple of them in.
Nice.
Two of them. Amy gets the one that was medium. Ranj, there's one XL. That's either you or me. There's only one. You decided I'm going to jump in, and you were going to try to put it over your
my jacket.
And
So, and Amy said,
Yes,
"Don't
you
do that.
did.
You're gonna look fat.
Yeah.
You
Don't
did
do that.
say
You're gonna
that.
look fat."
No, because you have like a jacket on, and it wouldn't be a flattering picture. I was just saying it just
Like, look at this big boy over there with that
Ranj.
Oh my gosh.
jersey on.
Ranj did try though with the jacket
Yeah.
on,
He did.
and it came over basically like a brassiere. It
Yeah, it
stopped.
stopped right at my right at my top.
It looked like a crop top.
Look good though.
It
Great
did.
looking
Oh,
kit.
yeah. And then you'll see that we took a photo like a real one. Ranj put the shirt on normally,
Yeah.
and it's a
Looks
really
nice.
good looking
Pretty
uniform.
I love
And
it.
I gotta say, Ranj, it looks good, buddy.
Thanks, man. And I
they
think the
can-
jersey looks great. But here's the worst
It's
part.
not a jersey.
I'm sorry. The kit looks
It's a
great.
shirt.
The STL City kit looks great. And by the way, we are going to have tickets to give away in the show.
Nice.
So for tonight, there's the friendly tonight against
Right.
Bayer
So
Leverkusen.
Clear your calendar if you want to try to win.
And download the SeatGeek app. You have to have it in order to get
And
the
then
tickets.
maybe tonight, if you're going to wear one of the kit,
Well-
you probably do want to wear a jacket underneath that.
Yes, it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you want to wear a jacket. It's going to be like 20 degrees.
So
It might snow.
Nice.
our boss, Steve Moore, great
Yes.
guy,
Yep.
comes in with
Yep.
all these jerseys,
In
all
bags.
these kits,
He's got little bags.
shirts
Bags
in
with-
bags.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought, oh
Yep.
wow, we're getting kits.
Yep.
Because they
And
look like gift bags.
It looked like gift bags.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, here, try these on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we try them on. He's like, all right, now
for
give
the
'em-"
photo op, right?
For the
'Cause
photo op.
You guys were the models for the photo opportunity.
And then he says, all right, give them back. They're not for you.
Yep.
They're
they
for
were-
other people in the building, not us.
They were presents.
Not for us.
But I mean, they were in gift bags. He gave them to us. We
Yeah.
put them on.
Yeah. And
You
then
can't take them
you
back.
can't take them back once they're
Well,
on.
I mean, he also did make clear in a
Well.
text this morning that they were just for
I don't-
promotional.
No, he
purposes.
didn't say that.
remember that.
It
He
did
didn't say that. I have to
Mm-mm.
take them back.
He
Well,
did.
now I know his my stinks on one of them. So good luck to whoever gets that one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You're pretty
Um,
smelly.
Yeah, I'm smelly. Smell good. Guys, I got a question for you.
All right.
All right. So this is I have a group of friends that goes up to Chicago every December
Uh-huh.
because we like to take advantage of the Christmas bars because they
Wait.
like every
Oh,
bar.
the decorations. Okay.
Yeah, like and there's always a theme at each one.
Like Christmas.
Like well, one bar is Elf. You know, like one
Oh,
bar
okay,
is a
okay.
Christmas story. One
Nice.
is like Christmas Vacation. It's great. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. So we go up every year for this. And there are like 6 of us that'll go. And so we always Airbnb a place.
Sure.
My old place where I used to live is right across the street from Wrigley Field.
Okay.
Big place, 4 bedrooms, like 2 it's just a big spot. So
You hiding
my
the family from us?
no.
Yeah.
Well,
what's up
my
with- That's
my
a typical apartment for a single guy, 4 bedrooms, 2 family
well,
rooms.
I had
you know.
roommates when I lived
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
My
yeah.
buddy owns the place.
Nice.
And he lives in California now. So he just rents it out for Airbnb. Back in August, I said, hey, buddy, same thing. We're coming up. Is it available this weekend? And he said, yep, no big deal. Nobody ever rents it that time of year. So I'll block it off for you.
Nice.
And he's like, all you got to do is just pay the cleaning fee.
Oh,
So fine.
that's
you
really
know?
nice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, all right, cool. We'll do that. Are you sure? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
no big deal. I get a text from him
Uh-oh.
in September, late September, and he said, "Hey, man, I am so sorry, but somebody rented that place out." And I said, "Okay, well, I thought you blocked it off." He's like, "Well, yeah, but they offered a lot of money, and I gotta take it. I'm sorry,
Whoa,
I
so
have to take it."
it wasn't an accident. He knew he blocked it off and he took it.
Yeah, he told me he blocked it off. He didn't do it.
Right.
Anyway, so
in his mind, though, he might have.
In his mind, he didn't do it. So he said, and this was in September, and he said, sorry about that. We go back and forth for an hour, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll have to go to the group and see what they say. And then he says, oh, dang it, I'm an idiot. Sorry. It's the weekend after. You guys are good.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, so now we've got a twist to the story.
Right. About 3 days ago.
Oh, no.
He texts again. He's like, I'm sorry, but somebody did book now for your weekend. I'm like, buddy, I thought you blocked it off. Because now we're a couple of weeks away from the trip.
Right.
And the closer you get, the harder it is to find a place for 6 people. Right. And he's like, he gets $1,900 for the weekend. So it's a good amount of money to rent this place out. Am I the butthole for this? Because
No.
I know he was about to give it away basically for free, but he committed to it, right? Like if you tell people that you get this place, doesn't matter if it costs money or not, aren't you like kind of obligated?
Yes.
Like if somebody swoops in the last minute, it's like, oh, I'm going to give you money for it now. Isn't it kind of too late because you've already committed to
Yes,
somebody else?
Ranch, it absolutely is. It's not your fault that he committed to give this place to you
Right.
for free. It's the same thing as if someone were to invite you to their little party. They're having a little party at their house and you commit and they plan for you. They set a table for you.
Yeah.
And then a better party comes along and that person decides to go to a different party,
Okay.
leaving you with an empty spot at your table. That person is the jerk because you were planning on hosting them. And I feel like with this Airbnb, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter that he wasn't making money. He committed to you.
Right.
Well, the bigger part here is this is a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, if it's like a random person,
Like it's a very close friend.
or an acquaintance, that's a different deal.
Have you thought about new friends?
Yeah, I was gonna say
all the time.
If you make a good friend, if I'm a good friend to either of you, and I say you can stay at my house for this weekend, I'm not gonna back off of that,
Right.
Unless my house burns down, in which
No,
case,
that's what I thought. I thought, well, he already, if he had said, look, somebody may in the meantime rent this place. If nobody does, you can have it.
That's a different
That's
thing.
a different thing.
Yes,
But
right. You're not making hard and fast plans then.
Correct.
You're winging it.
Really leaving you in a bad spot.
Yes.
If you're planning a trip, accommodations is the biggest part of that trip, especially if you're driving to a city. There's no bigger step in your planning process than figuring out
place to stay.
accommodations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he give you guys like the right of first refusal where he'd be like, hey, listen, I got somebody that wants to rent it. I can't turn down the money, but if you guys want to pay, I'll defer to you guys.
The first
or would he feel bad asking for money from you guys?
No, I think we offered. I mean, we weren't expecting it to be for free.
Right. You were like, we're going to pay you for this.
Right.
spot.
But he just said, hey, just take care of the cleaning fee and that's
Okay,
it.
so this is kind of along the same
But he
line.
should have given you
But
right of first refusal at
well,
least.
when he screwed up the first time and thought it was the right weekend, he offered that, but he didn't offer it this time.
I think he's in the wrong.
Thank you.
Which is,
Yeah, I agree with
usually,
Amy.
usually
Because he's
Raj
talking
is
to me
the
like,
jerk, but
he's talking to me like, I can't believe you would even question this. Like,
Mm-mm.
what are you talking about, man?
Again, if you need to make the money, understand. I mean, look, it's a business. He's doing this to make money.
Yeah.
Then just come to you and say, listen, somebody wants to rent it. I can't turn it down. Do you guys want to pay for it? I don't want to put you guys out in the cold. There you go. Solution
All right.
solved. He gets his money. All good.
All right,
Friends
good.
still taken care of.
yes, and it
So-
puts you in a bad spot. This also puts someone in a bad spot, and it is slightly different, but kind of the same idea. Accommodations are a big part of a trip. A friend is going on a trip with another one of her friends, right, for like a wedding.
Her
And-
name is Shmamy.
And her name is Shmamy. And
And her friend's name is
Schmegan.
Joa. Okay.
Oh. But you love Noah. But no, this was not that friend. And I was not one of the two people, but I had to give my opinion. So they're going to a wedding and they decide, you know what? Hotels are expensive. We have to stay 2 nights. We'll room together.
There you go.
And that way we can split the bill for this hotel that we've rented downtown. And like 2 days, 3 days before the wedding, one of the girls gets COVID.
Oh.
She can't go to the wedding,
Uh-oh.
but doesn't offer to like pay the other half of the hotel
Yeah,
bill
you
that
kinda-
she committed
yeah,
to.
you have to.
I know
Yep.
that she's no longer going, but the whole reason you room together is to cut the bill in half. And if you can't afford 2 nights at a hotel, or if that really hurts your budget, that's a big deal to lose your roommate.
I agree with you on that.
I
would
think
do
you
that
have
too.
to pay.
I mean, and again, thinking of the expenses of traveling for a wedding, you're saving on literally everything else. You're not going to have to pay for food or gas or anything along those lines. I would keep up my end of that.
Well, if you drive and
But if you're not going, you're not paying.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you meant
So I'm
the
saying,
wedding.
like,
Yeah.
like if you're not going, you're saving whatever you would have to spend in your share of gas.
Right.
You don't have to pay for like eating out.
Because that would be a big deal. If I were counting
Yeah.
on someone to take half the bill and suddenly I'm doubling the cost, that's a huge deal. You got to pay that.
Again,
I agree with
especially
you.
when you're talking about friends and not randos.
Oh, yeah.
Rando might be on their own.
Yeah.
Friend, I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I would hope that my friend would take care of me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just very glad to be in a situation where I'm not wrong. This is great.
Yeah, you're definitely not.
All right, good.
Ron, you actually got both of us at the same time
Thank
to say
you.
you're not wrong.
This is a great moment. Great
It's great.
moment.
Tip of my hat, sir.
How would
Yeah.
you guys feel about a similar story where you're planning on this did not happen to me, but this involved to keep people anonymous. This involved people that I'm close with.
Okay.
A friend to another friend said, "Yep, we're going to room together in an off-campus house this coming school year." And 2 days before classes start, said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not doing that. You're on your own."
What?
Okay.
Yeah, you got to find your own place.
Wait, that friend kicked.
This is not it did not happen to me.
Okay.
Did happen to someone I know, and it did affect me. Let's just be honest. This happened to Susan in college.
All right.
One of her friends did that. And by the way, we are still friends with that friend. She's a great person.
Wow.
Just goofed up in that moment.
So Susan was counting on staying at this friend's place, and this friend said, "You can't
Very last
room
minute,
with me."
like literally, they were going to have an apartment together, I think. And then this other friend, like, "Oh, I'm moving into another house with these other people." And then, do you want to go there? And Susan's like, "I don't want to live with those other people because they're kind of partiers. They're pretty nuts. Nice people, but not great." And it wound up being okay because I just ended up moving off campus with Susan, and we sorted it out.
And look at you too.
But same kind of idea, it was like we were already engaged. It was like not that, it was not like a huge shock that we would do it that way. But it's kind of along those lines of you don't do that a day or two before. I was really angry at this person for a long time, and then after that, I got over it.
Well,
Well, they're a really nice person.
Saying that, I guess it worked out for the better. When I was in college, I had a similar, well, not really similar. This buddy of mine and I decided to live in this place. We signed the lease. And then probably a week or two before school started, he said, "Hey man, I can't live there.
Oh no.
My sister is going to take my spot. Is that okay?"
Oh.
And I'm like, "What the? I gotta live with I don't know your sister.
Yeah.
I gotta live with this lady now, who, by the way, was the single biggest slob I have. This lady, I'm not kidding. She would cook things in the microwave and then forget. And then a couple of days would go by and I'd be like, "What is that smell?"
Oh, man.
And she was gross.
That's gross.
She was very gross.
I just thought of this right after the situation that we just talked about. Right after that, like days after that, we got down there. We're like, okay, we got to find a place to live. Had another friend. I was like, "Oh, I'll room with you guys. Let's get an apartment." Signed a lease. We did everything. And the next day she calls and goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm backing out. I can't stay with you." And we were like, and we couldn't afford this place by ourselves.
So
we broke the lease and ended up just canceling the deposit check. It's like calling the bank and canceling the check and paying the $20. And thankfully that was the end of it. But yeah, that was all in the same little sequence. And we're like, let's just get a place we can afford. Just we don't have to worry about counting on anyone else.
Basically, the bottom line is if you make a commitment to your friend, keep your damn commitment.
And what's interesting is that this is coming from the flakiest person I've ever met.
That's why I don't make hard plans.
There you go. There you go.
Don't commit.
I don't
So
commit.
you don't have to back out.
That's correct.
618 just texted and said, "Amy, a friend of mine rented an apartment with me our junior year in college. She canceled the week before classes began. She knew for months that she wasn't coming and left me with the rent and no roommate. That sucks."
God.
At least in the cases that I know that I'm describing and the ones you guys are describing, it's not like you knew for months and just didn't say anything. There are things that came up last second. They're still terrible and not good. That's, I think, worse.
Yeah, that's bad. That's
when
really
you know
bad.
forever and you don't say anything. All right, coming up next, a guy got a reward for returning a $5 million check to where it was supposed to go. What did he get? That's next on the show.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You know, this time of year, and specifically this year, maybe even more than ever, it can be challenging for families when you have a child hospitalized. I mean, again, it is always a challenge, but when you consider all that's been going on in the world the last couple of years, the way things have gone in the economy, it can be tough, but you can help these families get through it through the Tree of Hope campaign with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. And you can do it by simply making a donation, 20357. You can also go to KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon to make a donation there. Every donation helps, and they don't just help during the holidays. I want to be clear about that. These donations make all kinds of specialized treatment, transportation, all kinds of things possible year round. And keep in mind, that these programs are not always covered by insurance, and Cardinal Glennon helps all of the patients that come through their doors, regardless of their ability to pay. That's where all of us come in. So join me. Text 20357. Go to KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon to be a part of the Tree of Hope campaign. If you're a business that wants to get involved on a little bit bigger scale, just email me, kevin.wheeler@audacy.com, AUDACY.com, and you can be a big part of helping this out. If you want to know more about what they're doing and why we're trying to help, you can find out more about the families that get their help at Cardinal Glennon by going to glennon.org/our-patients, and you can text 20357 to donate, KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon.
Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. Live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
Tom Ackerman sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to yourEyeDoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. We continue shining a light on great work by nonprofits. Meet Unleashing Potential, known by its initials UP. UP focuses on discovering and unleashing the very best in each child they assist. Busey Bank is proud to partner with Unleashing Potential to help them fulfill their mission. Listen to our November podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AA MCO.
Home Sweet Home mission is to give underserved families a sense of pride and to improve the quality of their lives by providing basic household furnishings. To learn more, go to homesweethomestl.org.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Who is this guy?
Kevin Wheeler
With exaggerated mouth and tongue movements.
on the show.
All right, getting ready to wrap up the hour. Coming up at noon, we've got the recap of the top stories. This is where we're going to come back to the text line. We had a lot of great text reaction from the opening segment where we were talking about Donald Trump's announcement last night that he's going to be running for president again in 2024. I want to get to a lot of that reaction from the text line. You can add some if you'd like, if you had a reaction to that last night, 314-436-7900. All right, Ranj, let's talk about the $5 million check.
Amy, tell us about the $5 million check.
I'm sorry, was that
I would
you?
love to tell you about the $5 million check.
Amy,
Go on.
Tell us about the $5 million check.
A man in Germany found a lost check for $4.8
Deutschland.
million. Yes, he was.
That seems like a lot of money.
He was walking down the street. and
$5
he-
million.
He was walking down the street and he saw a piece of paper fluttering on the ground. He picked it up and he saw that it was a check for 4,631,538 euros and 80 cents.
You could have just said $5 million.
I could have. It was made out to Haribo, the gummy bear
Haribo?
candy company.
Yeah.
From a German supermarket chain. So there's a
Okay.
Yeah. So he said he said the large sum on the check was so large that he didn't know how to pronounce it, which is an interesting take. He should learn how to count higher than the millions, I guess. I don't know. I don't
It's
feel
a
like
joke.
Maybe he's not German.
My God, Amy. Yeah.
you might be not German. And he contacted Haribo and said, "Hey, I found a check made out to you for $5 million.
Nice.
And they said, "We were missing that check for $5 million. It was real." And he returned it. And they thanked him. And they gave him a gift for returning that $5
What
million
was his
check.
gift? Oh, must have been like, what, like 5,000?
Something cool.
Some money?
Yeah, trip. No, it was like 6 bags of gummy bears.
Wait. That's it?
Wait.
Yes, they sent him a gift box, which
Uh-huh.
included 6 packs of the company's products, such as candy.
Nothing else?
Nope.
No, like, hey, here's a one of those Visa gift cards for like $250. He'll have a nice dinner.
His quote was,
Oh
"I
my
thought that it was a bit cheap."
Yeah, that is a bit cheap.
Yeah, even just for the inconvenience that they would have gone through, that's worth more than that.
He
By the
thought
way,
check was
go
real,
look at
too.
Haribo's reviews on Amazon. They're great.
Are they?
Yes, they're very, very funny.
Great as in awesome or
Awesome. Like good.
bad? Awesome. Very good. All right, we're going to recap the top stories of the day. Get your texts in next on the show.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now. 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Now your Bite This Network traffic report. It looks like every vehicle in the country is currently headed to Hardee's for a saucy A1 double cheeseburger for only $2.99. You heard that right. Every single car, truck, and annoying electric scooter thing all heading to Hardee's. But don't take a detour. Hit the brakes on your hunger with a Charbroil Double Deal. Bite into the new A1 double cheeseburger for only $2.99, only at Hardee's. Tax not included. Available for limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price may vary. A1 is a registered trademark of Kraft Foods used with permission.
Suburban Leisure Center's showroom is glowing with all kinds of beautiful Christmas trees, 4.5 to 12 foot in all shapes and colors. Come see our huge selection of lifelike Christmas trees that stay lit. You get that fresh cut look without the mess, and you don't have to worry about burned out bulbs. You're sure to find that perfect tree at Suburban Leisure Center. Shop now. Trees are scarce this year. Hurry in while supplies last on Olive 1 mile west of 141, or check us out at suburbanleisurecenter.com, home of the Big Red Chair.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The voice of the Billikens, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
The pain was so bad, it felt like I was walking on knife blades. It took my life away. And my doctor recommended that I go to Good Feet. I took about 4 steps. I started to cry. It was the first time that I had no pain. I'm not an actor. I want people to know, whether you're young or old, these are life-changing. I've tried the rest. The best is Good Feet. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Let's go to the ballpark. We're going to Monster Jams. We're going camping. My attitude's changed. I'm a happier man. I'm like a regular dad now. The kids have seen that change and that confidence in dad, and they like the new dad.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's a cloudy sky and 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. We now know what the players will be wearing at City Park next year.
This is Stuart McMillan at Purina headquarters, where they unveiled the new kit for St. Louis City SC. It's got the city red all over it. Purina is on the front side of it. It even has little checkered marks that you see on the gateway arch as you look up and the sun is reflecting off of it. That's what it looks like on the front of the jersey.
This marks just another chapter in St. Louis's rich soccer history.
St. Louis, for generations, was the only city in the United States turning out, wave after wave of locally born players. There was no other city in the United States doing that until probably the 1970s or 1980s.
Dave Lang, author of the book Soccer Made in St. Louis, A History of the Game in America's First Soccer Capital, says sports fans should prepare themselves for a quick experience that doesn't stop through 2 45-minute halves. You can hear the inaugural match at City Park live on KMOX tonight as City 2 takes on Bayer Leverkusen. That is at 7 p.m. on KMOX. Russian air attacks against Ukraine are in part intended to deny the Ukrainian people basic necessities to sustain life, and the coming winter is an especially dangerous time, as we hear from CBS's David Martin.
The big concern of U.S. officials as we go into this winter is that come spring, the Russians will have continued bombarding Ukrainian cities and have basically worn down the Ukrainian population by cutting off their electricity, cutting off their water.
As some kind of new normal. Instead, we will continue to stand up for Ukraine's inalienable rights to defend itself. We'll continue to strengthen our unity and resolve. We'll continue to show the power of partnership. And we'll continue to bolster Ukraine's armed forces by rushing them the capabilities that they need to defend their country. And we will continue to help the people of Ukraine in their fight for freedom.
This is a live feed from the Pentagon. That is Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary, addressing the missile strike in Poland. We'll continue to monitor that briefing and bring you the latest as it becomes available. NASA's mightiest moon rocket has lifted off 50 years after Apollo. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson says he watched the launch with astronauts.
I'm telling you, we've never seen such a tail of flame. There were a bunch there that would like to be on that rocket. And I have to say, for what we saw tonight, it's an A+.
The First Mid-Bank and Trust Business Desk, that Thanksgiving dinner is going to be pricey this year.
With turkeys up some 17% from last year, some savvy shoppers have advice for others.
You just have to manage, go around, shop around.
Some big box stores such as Costco are putting up signs limiting the amount of turkeys sold per person. And this Miami man thinks people should try smaller family-owned markets because
the traditional stores are pretty expensive.
Some experts say there will be whole turkeys available, but it could be tough to find turkey breast, and high ham prices are cutting down on cheaper choices. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Dow from Stifel's up 16 points to 33,609. And right now, taking a look at the roads, we do have some construction that's on 70 at Cave Springs, but otherwise things look clear.
Highest temperatures this afternoon are going to be up to about 36. Some sunny breaks, but also some flurries and a snow shower to this evening, down to 23 tonight. Not quite as cold tomorrow as we get up in the low to mid 40s, but colder again on Friday, up to 33, and then low 40s for the weekend with some sunshine. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Ian DeVore on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Cloudy, 35 in Florissant, 35 St. Peters, 35 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than $4? 314-441-4444.
All right, 12:05 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We open the show today. It's kind of what we do in this segment is kind of go back to the top stories of the day. We open the show with the announcement from last night from Mar-a-Lago.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
I am not trying to be a troll or smart aleck or anything like that. Did he sound off to you?
He sounded very, I know he likes to use the term Sleepy Joe. That's the sleepiest I've heard anybody in a very long time.
I mean, Joe's pretty sleepy, but I mean, like that was
really bad last night.
I was just wondering if it was me because I didn't watch the whole thing. I only saw a couple of clips here and there. I knew what he was going to say, so I didn't watch that.
Yeah, I feel like he has sounded off actually for a couple of months now when he calls into Fox or he's been interviewed. There's just something different.
It was very, as he likes to say, low energy.
You know what?
His entire speech
probably
was.
fair. That's fair. I mean, I don't care. I don't judge based on one speech or anything like that. It strikes me because normally he's bombastic and, you know.
Well, you would think for an announcement that he's running for president, you would think he would have been that. Don't you think?
Yes. Just considering that's the natural state of being for him normally, yeah, I would expect that.
And by the way, do we have to go with Make America Great Again and Great and Glorious Again? Is that what it is?
It was
that
something
Magaga?
about, 2 years ago, America
Make
was a
America
great country.
and glorious again.
Magaga.
Magaga.
Hey, new shirts.
All right.
Is that why Magaga was trending?
Was that trending yesterday?
Was it?
It's trending now.
Oh.
Magaga.
Well,
and
that's got to be why.
Well, there
I
you go.
thought maybe it was like MAGA Georgia.
No. Oh, actually, that would make sense too.
I thought maybe it was MAGA Georgia. Magaga. Well,
So-
did you guys see the New York Post, their front page?
Wow.
It was just a line on the bottom of the page. No picture of Trump or anything.
Right. It
said,
was not the top story.
No, it was not. Gun violence and children was
Yeah.
the top story. So a very somber cover to the New York Post, which is always very tabloidy. But at the very bottom, there was a sub headline that said, Florida man announces candidacy.
And that is, so that's a
The
Rupert.
Murdochs have
There was the report
seemingly
yesterday.
changed teams.
Well, there was the report yesterday that they were not going to do anything to support him.
I messed it up. Florida man makes announcement.
Makes announcement.
That's
there you go.
what the New York Post
So
said.
when we kicked it off, obviously we just offered up a few thoughts on this, and mostly what we offered up, at least my end, I was just reading comments from elected Republican officials who were saying essentially we don't want to do this again. This is not good for our party. It's not good for us. It didn't work in the midterms. Relitigating 2020 was not a winning strategy. All of that. And we started getting a lot of reaction on the text line. So if you'd like to join in again now, you're welcome to, because we're going to start reading some of your reaction to the announcement that we knew was coming.
And
Mitch McConnell.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I thought you want to play Mitch McConnell's response
Well,
to the midterms and then get to the
let me
text about
address
that?
your New York Post
Oh,
story.
sorry. Yeah.
When you open up the paper, the actual physical paper, because it tells you what to go to, like page 6 or whatever it is, page 26.
Okay.
So you go to page 26 of the paper, and the headline, it's a very short blurb, and the headline says, "Been there, done that." And it's like 4 paragraphs. That's it.
Very strange.
Yes.
So do we want to do text or do we want to do 2
I
minutes
know
of
I
Mitch
messed-
McConnell?
I messed up. Let's do text.
Okay.
Text
I want to make
messages.
sure we're going
I
in the
was
right
so
direction.
excited for them.
You're
Who-
excited to hear Mitch McConnell?
Who doesn't
Here's
get
how it's going to sound.
so excited?
That's Mitch McConnell. That's what he's going to sound like for 2 minutes.
Sorry, my bad, folks. My bad.
I'm just
I was
messing with
just so thrilled.
you. All right, let's get to questions. Not questions, text. We got a lot of text messages on this. And here, a text here. 618 said, I had a bet with my cousin that Trump was going to announce that he's running for president is in 2024 as an independent. That did not happen. But I guess you could see it happening if, like, say, DeSantis were to get the nomination in some kind of battle. But it's not, that did not happen. But said, that's my biggest fear. This is the texter 618. That's my biggest fear in 2024, that if he's not nominated, he'll go rogue. And then this texter says Kamala Harris wins. Obviously, it may or may not be her, maybe Joe, maybe somebody else in the party. But either way, that would be the fear from the 618. Then we've got 314 said, I would prefer he not run, but he accomplished a lot as president.
Because we were talking about there are Republicans out there who are exhausted by the Trump narrative. They're exhausted by the election deniers. And yeah, 314-436-7900 to text in or call.
Yeah, again, that was kind of the same thing. Texter in the 618 says, I agree with Trump's policies, but I'm tired of the antics. And they put hashtag DeSantis.
Yeah.
So that was one of our texters this morning. 636 said, I'm a strong conservative Republican. And while I agree with many of Trump's policies, he's a terrible leader. And I would immediately back any other good candidate. That's 2 in a row. The next text, same thing. 636, I'd vote for DeSantis. A Florida guy might understand my need for a flamethrower instead of shoveling.
I mean, it's so true again, because Trump's entire platform is victimhood, that the election was stolen from him, that there's no integrity left in the democratic process unless he wins, which is an odd platform. And so there's nowhere to go with that.
Yeah.
You can keep people angry and fearful for a while, but there's nowhere to go. It's ultimately a dead end.
These are all different texters, and this was all in about a 5-minute span. We got a lot of messages. Another one that said, remember the malaise in the Democratic Party in 2016 before Biden jumped in? I feel the same malaise in the Republican Party until DeSantis jumps in. Another 314, the problem with DeSantis waiting until 2028 would be that he's at the top of the list now. 6 years from now, he might not be. And then goes on to say Trump wins in 2024 and his VP is someone like Carrie Lake. And then that person then kind of has that position. That's a good point by the 314. Let's see here. Another one, texter in the 636. As far as Trump running again, my opinion is a hard no. We are conservatives and firmly believe if he somehow wins the nomination, that will guarantee a Democratic victory. Still can't believe the numbers that the number of people that are MAGA are as high as 30% in the Republican Party. Hope not. Again, these are all texters we got in about a 5 or 6 minute window, and there are more. I mean, this is not even all of them, but you can see there's a trend here, and it's a lot of what John Hancock talked about Friday when we were breaking down the election results. Or I'm sorry, on Friday when we were leading into we're coming out of the election from last week.
Yeah.
Right. So we had the post-election analysis. It seems like we're hearing a lot of the same things from people that are conservative voters.
If it is about 30%, and I would bet it's probably in that range, that there are 30% of just hardcore Trump supporters who are never going to leave him, that could be a problem for the party, because those people don't necessarily care about Republicans. They care about him. And that's a very difficult thing to navigate. Now, that could change by the time we get to 2024, but it seems like a challenge for them.
That was what that last texter was basically getting to, hoping it's not that high a percentage. Because the hope would be that if you have let's say you have a competition between DeSantis and Trump, that no matter who wins, the people that backed the other candidate would still get behind the one that ends up winning and move forward. And the worry that you're hearing from people on the Republican side is that there are a percentage, maybe even a large percentage of the Trump voters that would not do that. That's their worry. We don't know that they wouldn't. But we do know what happened in the midterms with some of those people that were Trump-backed candidates that were also election deniers.
I can see Ron DeSantis bleeding voters, bleeding supporters away from Trump. I just can, because Ron DeSantis is Trumpian in his tactics, but he's more polished. He's smoother. And he also is one of the few politicians who has been able to use Trump versus being used by Trump. I think Trump knows it. That's why Trump has turned so quickly on DeSantis. I think far and away, Ron DeSantis is Trump's biggest opponent. That's the diametric opposite. And I think Ron DeSantis has an appeal to Republican voters that a Liz Cheney doesn't have, right? That an Adam Kinzinger doesn't have. It's not Mitt Romney. Ron DeSantis, I think, can hit those touchstones of that Trumpian defiance and cavalier attitude toward Democrats, liberals, the establishment, media, whatever you want to call it. And yet he's far more competent. And in this, he is the diametric opposite of Trump is. Ron DeSantis is not lazy. Trump is profoundly lazy.
And DeSantis is profoundly ambitious.
Yes.
So there's a difference.
And he, to my knowledge, right, he still hasn't picked any fights with Trump.
No.
I mean, like, unlike the other people we've talked about, Liz Cheney has, Mitt Romney did. I mean, like, a lot of the other prominent Republicans have at least fired off a shot here or there about the midterms or whatever. DeSantis has not, to my knowledge. He has kept that to himself if he thinks it.
Yeah, he vaguely pushed back that he wasn't going to get into name calling, hurling aspersions at people. But DeSantis knows how to play his cards. Even when all the Mar-a-Lago FBI drama was going down. Remember, DeSantis is technically not the governor of a border state, and yet he was the one with his name in the mix, busing migrants to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
And you would think, okay, why are we talking about DeSantis and not Greg Abbott here? Abbott was semi-involved as well, but yet it was DeSantis getting the splashy headlines, and I do think he knows how to play that card. I'm interested to see when DeSantis makes that announcement. I don't say if, I say when. That he is running for president.
One more text that just came in, 314. As an independent, if Trump gets the nomination, I'm voting Democrat. He makes the country worse like Herschel Walker. And it's interesting. I don't know. This is not a scientific poll. I mean, this doesn't. What we're getting on the text line doesn't tell us everything that we would need to know about this. I just find it's interesting that it's a lot of the same. And I wonder how much of that is just the reaction, not just, but largely influenced by what we saw last week. That the strategies that he's employed successfully for him in the past have not worked for other people in the way that people who vote for Republicans wanted them to. Interesting. All right.
We have tickets to give away.
When are we doing that? You want to do
Let's do it after, let's do it at 12:30.
After we
talk.
talk.
12:30, we've got Nate Getter.
Yeah.
So you want to do it after we're done with him, or you want to do it at 12:45?
Let's do it right after we talk to Nate.
All right. So we'll have Nate Getter, who's going to have the play-by-play for tonight's match between City 2 and Bayer Leverkusen. That'll be 7 o'clock tonight here on KMOX pregame, starting at 6 o'clock. We'll have Nate coming up after 12:30. Next up, we're going to hear what Mitch McConnell had to say about all of this on the show.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
Hey, it's Trish Gazelle. Remember Old Newsboys Day? It's back this Thursday. I'll be selling papers for the benefit of children's charities at Celebrity Corner, Gravois and Lindbergh. Stop by 7 to 9 a.m. Old Newsboys Day this Thursday, November 17th, South Lindbergh at Gravois. See you there.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
This is Debbie Monterey with a real estate update and some insight for my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria told me that sitting on the sidelines may not be the best strategy moving forward in this continually shifting market. Homes aren't selling as quickly, and in most cases, price reductions are becoming pretty common. Gloria also said that earlier this year, with low inventory, sellers didn't need a strategy to sell homes because homes were listed and sold immediately. Now more than ever, it's crucial to have a proven strategy to get your home sold, and that's why I strongly suggest you call local real estate expert Gloria Liu before you list your home to get the absolute most money. Gloria is so confident that she will sell your home, she'll guarantee in writing upfront to sell it at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy your home herself. Learn more by calling Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
The voice of St. Louis. News that matters to you. KMOX.
All right, coming up on 12:22 on the show, Chris Ranji, Amy Markscores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Time to get to the part that Amy was fast-forwarding to a few minutes ago.
I was one step ahead of you guys.
I've never seen anyone more excited to hear from Mitch McConnell than Amy was about 10
Ted
minutes
Cruz
ago.
is.
Oh, is he?
Such an
No.
inspiring
All right, so
speaker.
get to the news first, and then we'll play what Mitch had to say.
Yeah, by the way, Mitch McConnell has been reelected as minority leader.
Okay.
It was a secret ballot vote. 10 Senate Republicans did vote against him. One voted present, and Ted Cruz tried to delay the vote. Cruz is blaming McConnell for the bad showing by the Republican Party last week. I'm not sure how it's his fault, but that's what Ted Cruz says.
He's got to wear some of it, right? I mean, he is one of the people in charge of the party. Like,
Sure.
he's got to wear some of it for sure.
He's not backing the crazies who lost, though.
Well, no, that's a good point. He was not one of the people pushing the election denial, which is something that clearly got pushed back against. All right, so we had the announcement last night from Donald Trump that he is going to run in 2024. Mitch McConnell spoke about that subject.
Every one of our candidates knew what they were for, expressed it quite clearly. It's pretty obvious, and all of you have been writing about it, what happened. we underperformed among independents and moderates because their impression of many of the people in our party and leadership roles is that they're involved in chaos, negativity, excessive attacks, and it frightened independent and moderate Republican voters. And we saw that, which is why you all recall I never predicted a red wave. We never saw that in any of our polling in the states that we were counting on to win. There was no wave. We had national issue set that was favorable, but as a result of our own, the perception many of them had that we were not dealing with issues in a responsible way and that we were spending too much time on negativity and attacks and chaos, they were frightened. And so they pulled back. We, in two states, for example, excuse me, in two states, for example, got just crushed by independent voters, Arizona and New Hampshire. So we learned some lessons about this, and I think the lesson's pretty clear. Senate races are different. Candidate quality, you recall I said in August, is important. And in most of our states, we've met that test. In a few of them, we did not.
All right. Well, again, some of that there, some of that there definitely sounds like covering your own butt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I don't recall hearing a lot of that very much out loud prior to the election from him or anybody in positions of power. Not to say that he didn't believe it or say it or even say it quietly, but it wasn't like anybody was pounding the table on that side of the aisle saying, yep, we got to be careful. We're alienating people. Our own internal polling is showing this isn't the wave that everybody wasn't out there for. And I understand why, because you don't want to put bad stuff out there in advance of an election, but bad stuff happened anyway. And by bad, I mean just a lot less good than you expected.
Well, look at the words Mitch McConnell used. He said that voters saw chaos, negativity, excessive attacks, and it frightened voters. Mitch McConnell is not dumb. And again, you hear so much about Republicans talking about Trump and election deniers anonymously or behind the scenes, behind closed doors. Until there are more Republicans who are able to overcome the cowardice that they have speaking up against election deniers and the chaos, negativity, and excessive attacks that is being pushed by these very Trumpian candidates, then they deserve what they have coming to them. But Mitch McConnell, talking about those types of candidates, was speaking with a familiarity that he has had this conversation before, most likely behind closed doors. You know that these Republicans, more than are speaking out publicly, are disgusted with what's taking place, with how Trump hijacked the GOP, but they also let it be hijacked. And then they see what happens to Liz Cheney. They see Liz Cheney getting primaried. They see Adam Kinzinger becoming a pariah. And they don't want that. They want to keep their jobs. So they're trying to walk that fine line of not upsetting Trump voters, but trying to word things so that in a way they don't really bear responsibility or they're not culpable. And it's cowardice. It's gotten as bad as it has because too few Republicans have spoken out.
Clearly, they're all afraid to. Not all of them. I think most of them have been afraid to. I wonder if that tide turned a little bit after last week.
Yeah.
It seems like a fever of some kind has broken, but there's always the possibility of reinfection. So I don't know. I can't just rule out the possibility that he dominates again.
Yeah. What's the Mike Tyson thing?
Everyone's got a plan until you're punched in the mouth.
Punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
We'll see if these guys react when they get punched in the mouth, because that's what Donald Trump is going to do as this moves forward. All right, Nate Gatter's going to join us next. He's got the play-by-play on the soccer match tonight here on KMOX. We'll hear from Nate when we come back after the news.
The time has arrived to introduce a world-class stadium to soccer fans throughout the region.
To the left side of the box, he can pick a pass with the left foot of the byline.
St. Louis City 2 host Bundesliga powerhouse Bayer Leverkusen at City Park in an international friendly.
Right foot ball in front. Olstruck, he scores!
History will be made tonight. Pre-game coverage begins at 6, kickoff at 7. and you can hear it exclusively on KMOX and KMOX.com. We were built for this.
KMOX news time is 12:28. Donate a car, get a tax receipt, and tickets to the St. Louis Aquarium at mersgoodwill.org.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-5555. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, behind on taxes houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-5555. That's 314-782-5555.
Recent impacts with inflation, ongoing COVID concerns, and geopolitical conflict have us all and the markets on edge. Heisey Advisory Group understands the importance of having a customized strategy for retirement, especially during uncertain times, to help ensure these concerns don't have an impact on your retirement. Heisey Advisory Group is a St. Louis-based, family-owned and operated holistic retirement planning firm. Our team has defined a process that puts together all the pieces of the financial puzzle, working with all of your service providers to help develop an individualized plan that grows with you as your life changes and your needs evolve. If you're not confident that your retirement plan is on track to deliver the lifestyle you want amid historic levels of uncertainty, call us today at 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400.
Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Firm provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
At 12:30, it's cloudy and 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. The inaugural match at City Park is live on KMOX tonight as St. Louis City 2 faces Bayer Leverkusen. The international friendly kicks off at 7 p.m. Also today, City unveiled its new jersey or kit for the upcoming season. Gunmen opened fire in a bazaar in southwestern Iran, according to Iranian state television, killing at least 5 people. Chairman General Mark Milley says Russia yesterday launched at least 60 missiles and may have launched 100, likely the largest wave of missiles against Ukraine since the beginning of the war. We've got debris on 44 West past 7th. The right lane is closed. A stall 70 East before Lucas and Hunt on the right shoulder. And utility work on Manchester going east at Sappington. That's got the left lane closed. Breezy and cold this afternoon with some sunny breaks, mostly cloudy, along with some flurries, even a snow shower in spots into this evening with a high today of 36. Overnight, cold, low 23. For tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sun and a high of 44. It's 35 degrees downtown at the Arch, sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Planning a road trip this fall? Maximize your fuel economy by inflating tires to proper pressure and packing light. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
The holidays are here, but for some families, they'll spend that time at SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. I'm Carol Daniel. KMOX, along with all of our sister stations at our company, Odyssey STL, are again proud to partner with you and other generous St. Louisans in our community to raise funds for the Tree of Hope campaign for Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It's so easy to give. Just text the word HOPE to 20357 or KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want, and Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
It's Thursday Night Football as the Titans take on the Packers. Catch the game here. Kickoff at 7. The Titans, the Packers. Football on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
All right, it's 12:34 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Coming up tonight on the show, 6 o'clock, or I should say after the show and after the Dave Glover Show tonight here on KMOX. We have got a first. It'll be the first match held at City Park. City 2 going up against Bayer Leverkusen, and we are going to have the play-by-play here, 6 o'clock for the pregame show, 7 o'clock for the start of the match. Nate Gatter is going to have the play-by-play, and he's with us here on the show. How you doing, Nate? Welcome in, man.
Thanks, man. I'm doing well. It's great to be with you guys.
Talk a bit about your feelings heading into tonight. I mean, it's not the full-on real deal that we're going to get in the spring when the MLS season officially starts, but it's still the first. It's still a fun match, and it's still going to be a hell of an atmosphere. It sounds like the place is going to be packed.
For sure. I'm struggling to think of a good comparison, but to be honest, I think my feeling is going to be a lot what players and coaches say it's like to play a friendly, which is you keep that in your mind all day. Then when you get there and it's sold out and the atmosphere is rocking and people are excited and they kick off, it starts to feel an awful lot like just any other game. I mean, all the guys who are there want to impress, in particular the City players. You know, there are going to be City 2 guys out there who are still trying to work their way into the MLS fold next year. Leverkusen has a good number of their first-team players, but they also have a few guys who are sort of trying to break into the team, who are more like they're under 19, they're under 23 type academy guys who are trying to break into the first team. So they're going to want to impress. And I think it's hard not to be invigorated by 22,500 people in the stands going nuts. And you know, that's ultimately why any of us are doing this. It's why the announcers want to do it. It's why the players want to play, why the coaches want to coach. And I think at some level, regardless of what's on the line, the atmosphere can make it feel like a big deal no matter what.
And the way the stadium is constructed, it's going to just project all that sound back down on the field. So even if it is a friendly, like you said, having over 22,000 people and then having that stadium construction make it so loud, just amplifying every ounce of sound that's at City Park, it's going to be such a great atmosphere. What a great way to christen the park for its first soccer match.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think it's one of those things that there are a lot of, in my experience at least, American sports fans who are not necessarily big soccer fans. And then when MLS comes to their city, they say, I'll try it out. And one of the things they're not ready for is how great the awnings in soccer stadiums are for the fan experience. First of all, you're never going to get rained on unless you're sitting maybe right next to the field. And in that case, nobody feels bad for you anyway. And it's going to be so loud because it keeps all the sound in. And it's really fun. MLS teams have gotten really good in the last 10 years or so at building these soccer-specific stadiums that are just the right size. We've seen them in Cincinnati, in Columbus, in Austin, where they've had a ton of success. And by all accounts, this stadium is right up there with the very best. I don't think any expense really was spared in trying to deliver the best possible product to fans. And to your point also, Amy, and to Xabi Alonso, the Bayer Leverkusen coach's point this week, every seat is within 120 feet of the pitch. That's the closest of any stadium in MLS. That speaks to just how perfect the size is, that it's big enough to pack 22,000 plus in there and small enough that everybody is within 120 feet of the pitch at all times, which I think is a pretty awesome testament for every seat is a good seat.
Nate, let's pretend like we don't know anything about soccer. Tell us about...
Wait, you're pretending?
Let's talk about Leverkusen. Tell us about this team because I know there is a lot of interest with MLS teams when they get the opportunity to play one of these international games and they get to see like a Bundesliga team or an EPL team. Tell us about Leverkusen.
Certainly, there can be huge interest. And some of the time, MLS teams even end up playing these friendlies during the summer, which is MLS's season and the off season for European teams. So we saw this past year, for instance, Charlotte, an expansion team in MLS, selling out their stadium to play Chelsea in a friendly during the middle of their season and playing all of their first team players, going all out. They beat Chelsea in that game, and it was phenomenal. And then they got smacked at the weekend in an MLS game that actually counted because their players were all exhausted. So luckily, we don't have to worry about that, but definitely people get up for these games. The first thing to know about Leverkusen is I think it's a really good club. Third place in the Bundesliga last year, which is one of the better leagues in the world. They were playing Champions League football this year, which is the top of the top in Europe, and they'll be continuing on in the Europa League after finishing third in their Champions League group. They've had a bit of a down season this year. They got off to a really, really rough start, just one win in their first 8. They made a change at manager, and they brought in Xabi Alonso, who's a young coach. This is the first time he's ever been the coach of a first team at any club. He's only 40 years old, but a lot of St. Louisans are probably not familiar with his name. He is a massive name in Europe. We're talking about one of the most decorated midfielders of his generation. Champions League winner at Liverpool, Champions League winner at Real Madrid, 3-time German champion at Bayern Munich, where he played under Pep Guardiola, World Cup winner with Spain. It was funny watching the team arrive and the videos of them walking through the airport and how there are a few reporters, but for the most part, people didn't bother him. Xabi Alonso walking around anywhere in Spain would be the equivalent of if Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina were walking right through the terminal at Lambert, just strolling by. That's the reaction they would get in St. Louis. That's what Xabi Alonso is used to. So I think maybe people don't realize the magnitude of the star power that's here. And they brought some of their big name first team players as well. A few are missing because of the World Cup or because of injury. In particular, Florian Wirtz, who I think is going to be a household name here pretty soon. But they have Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's built a big name for himself when he was at Chelsea. He's on loan now with Leverkusen. Going to get to see some other first-team stalwarts in Kerem Demirbay, Nadim Amiri, Mitchell Bakker. They have a really young group. What you'll notice about Leverkusen is a lot of guys who are mid-20s, even early 20s, and who they're going to try to cash in on as their value increases over time. And Wirtz is certainly one of those guys, not out of the question as he recovers from his knee injury that next year or the year after, he could be a $75, $100 million transfer to the Premier League or elsewhere, maybe to Bayern Munich, one of the really big name teams in Europe.
Nate Getter is with us here on the show on the Quiver River guest line. He'll have the play-by-play tonight with City 2 and Bayer Leverkusen right here on KMOX with his partner Simon Rose providing the analysis. All right, so on the City 2 side, Nate, I mean, the soccer mafia knows. The people that have followed City all along have known. But the idea here, too, is to bring in people that haven't been following along that might be listening on KMOX tonight. So kind of lay it out the same way you just did there for City 2. What are we looking at? How many of these guys have a chance to be on the big club in the spring when things get going? What do we expect tonight?
So a number of them will be on the big club. We already know that. Probably 7. I think they have 8 first-team contracts handed out now, maybe 9, because Kyle Hebert and Josh Yarrow, who might well be the starting center-back pairing tonight, who played all season for City 2 and have both earned MLS contracts for next season. They've been really good, and the only European player City have brought in who hasn't played and won't be available tonight is Joachim Nielsen. He's a center back as well, so he likely will not be in the lineup. So I would anticipate that Yarrow and Hebert will start again at center back, and this will be a great test for them with how well they played in Next Pro. But we will see some of the guys who are expected to be the bigger names for City who have gotten some time for City too, but didn't really play, especially down the stretch of the season and in the playoffs, which is when KMOX has been in the picture. So we haven't had a game on KMOX, for instance, where Roman Bürki started in goal. The 32-year-old Swiss goalkeeper is probably the biggest name on the team, coming off almost 300 appearances in all competitions for Borussia Dortmund, one of the bigger name teams in Germany. He has a lot of experience with Bayer Leverkusen. In fact, has never lost a home game to Leverkusen. He played them 6 times in the German league. So we'll see if he can keep that going. But he's a big name guy. Also, the likes of João Klaus, the Brazilian striker who had a little injury and wasn't able to play late on in the season. We'd expect him to be leading the line as City center forward tonight. As well as Edouard Leuven, who's one of the other designated players. For people who don't know, MLS has a very stringent salary cap and specific salary guidelines. And you have 2 and in some cases 3 players you can call DPs, designated players, whose salaries only count up to a certain point. Essentially, you can go beyond that and have subsequent dollars not count against the cap. So they tend to be very important players in the team. Klaus and Leuven, who's more of a center midfielder, are the two DPs for City at this point. And Berkey is also classified as a DP. But it's not important to get into why the classifications work the way they do. But you're going to get to see a lot of guys who are going to be big pieces for City next year. Unfortunately, the additions from the expansion draft and the trade on expansion draft night are not yet eligible to be part of the team. So we won't get to see them until preseason in January. But this should be a game that's full of guys who will contribute, if not start, the opener in February.
It's a good preview. Yeah.
That's a great preview, and actually makes me feel stupid for my next question, which might actually be a waste of your expertise, Nate. So I ask for your forgiveness.
Oh, I guarantee it's that.
in advance. So we know that the show Drive to Survive really drove up interest in the U.S. for Formula One. Do you know, with the popularity of Ted Lasso, has that increased interest in MLS and soccer in general for United States fans?
That's a good question. I would have said I don't know, except that Ted Lasso's cultural penetration seems to have remained. I mean, we've seen these billboards just in the last week put up in all the hometowns of the World Cup players for the U.S. men's national team that have inspirational messages written to them from a fictional character in Ted Lasso. So clearly his hold on the sort of soccer zeitgeist in this country is substantial and sustaining. And obviously there are two of them up in St. Louis with Josh Sargent and Tim Ream representing us with the U.S. men's national team in Qatar. Pretty impressive for a city the size of St. Louis to have 2 out of 26 on a roster that is generally dominated by New York, tri-state area, and Southern California players. I think it's a great time, whether that's because of Ted Lasso or because historically the World Cup tends to be a spike in soccer interest in the World Cup or in the United States. I think this is a great time for City to be coming into the league. That said, even if this were not a World Cup year and Ted Lasso had never existed, I don't think City would be struggling to fill the stadium. I mean, they got 60,000 season ticket requests when they could only accommodate 18,000, and they got those in the first 24 hours. I mean, they shattered. City had essentially sold out their season ticket allotment in 15 minutes from when they came on sale. No MLS team has ever come close to that. Austin was impressing people a couple of years ago, and their numbers pale in comparison to what City have produced. So I think the interest here was going to be very, very strong regardless, but certainly the penetration of soccer has just continued in the American market. And the World Cup, I think, is particularly important for that, especially now having the stadium open to be able to host watch parties and that sort of thing, and really take advantage of the fact that the World Cup, for whatever reason, is a format that tends to really appeal to the American sports fans who otherwise maybe don't follow soccer closely.
Nate, great breakdown, man. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to your call tonight here on KMOX, and we're looking forward to talking again soon, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Hope everybody will join us.
Well, you got a chance to do it tonight, starting at 6 o'clock with the pregame, 7 o'clock for the start of the match. City 2 against Bayer Leverkusen. It'll be Nate Gatter on the play-by-play, his partner Simon Rose with the analysis. And, of course, Nate joined us on the Quiver River guest line. Amy, I don't think that was a crazy question.
Okay.
and I think Nate is 100% right. The anticipation for MLS in St. Louis has been massive for a long time. But things like Ted Lasso, things like the World Cup that he mentioned, the timing of all of that, is really good for grabbing the fringe people, for grabbing the fans that are semi-curious. You're kind of out on the peripheral. You're not diehard soccer fans. You maybe not even diehard sports fans, but you can kind of get caught in like, all right, this could be interesting, something we want to talk about. So,
and as we know, nothing bad ever happens when you energize the fringe. All right. Listen. Don't you dare, Kevin.
Nope, just saying on that note.
Don't you dare go to break. Because I have stuff to give away.
Oh, we're doing it now. I thought we were doing it next.
No.
All right, let's go.
Do you want to do it right now, or do you want to tease these people?
You go. Let's go. Do it.
Tickets for tonight's game.
Match.
Damn it. Tickets for tonight's match between City 2 and Bayer Leverkusen at 7 o'clock. You have to download the SeatGeek app first of all, so get that ready to go.
Easy.
All right?
Takes a couple seconds.
It's very, very easy to do, but here's how you can win those ducats. Call the number and be caller number 5.
5.
To 314-436-6666. 7900. That's 314-436-7900. And caller number 5 gets tickets for the game tonight at City Park.
Or color Fünf. That's German. For 5.
Is that
No,
right?
it's not.
It is.
Fünf?
Fünf?
Fünf.
I feel.
Hi, Fünf. Is that what they say?
I don't think they say hi. I think they have their own word for hi.
Okay.
Say
Oh, don't say that one.
Fünf.
Guten Tag, Fünf? I don't
All
even
right,
think
we
that's
need to-
correct.
We need to go.
All right.
What?
Break
Hawk Fünf. High five.
on KMOX.
Well, we've been talking about the cold and the snow, and it can take you by surprise, partly because I feel like we have that crying wolf syndrome with snow, and then it shows up and then you're not ready for it. Here's what you need to do. You need to go to stlfenceworks.com. Yep, you've heard me talk about them for fence and decking, but they also have fully insured commercial snow and ice removal on demand, and that weather is coming. We know it's coming, so you need to make sure you bookmark stlfenceworks.com, and they can help you out when the snow and ice does arrive. In the meantime, if you're thinking of nicer weather, hanging out outside, barbecuing, having the family over, you'll want to contact STL Fenceworks. They're the #1 fence and deck contractor in the state of Missouri. They can make all of your outdoor leisure space dreams come true. Whether you need a new fence for a little bit of privacy, maybe a little bit of separation, or a new deck. You have an old one that needs to be taken down. You want to have something a little bit cleaner, a little bit sharper, maybe a little bit bigger. They can build that. Or if you've never had a deck before, they can add it, add value to your home. And when STL Fenceworks builds your deck, they're building something that is as sturdy as your home. In fact, they have a lifetime warranty on all of their fence and deck products that surpasses anything else offered in the industry. Visit them today at stlfenceworks.com.
Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more, live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
Hey guys, Glover here, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra, and you can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
I'm Tamron Hall. Doesn't your family deserve the best? Eggland's best eggs, classic, cage-free, and organic, give you and your family more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best provides 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat. These are no ordinary times, so why choose an ordinary egg? Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Sikorsky Boeing Defiant X is an affordable, long-range assault aircraft for the U.S. Army. It is designed to deliver transformational speed, range, and maneuverability in order to penetrate and mass combat power on the objective. Lockheed Martin, your mission is ours.
My Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But early detection allowed us to take control of the situation together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, Mott's Matt here for Brewpub Lots and Mott's Pizza. You know, there are very few things in life worth waiting for. Pizza's done.
Oh, I'm on it. I'm starving. I've been waiting.
I wouldn't do that. It's going to be really...
It's so hot. It's burning my mouth.
A Brewpub Lots and Lots of Pizza it's the epitome of delayed gratification. So when your Brewpub pizza is done and the temptation to dive right in due to the deliciousness of every bite overwhelms you, step back, give it time, and know it's worth the wait. Brewpub Lots and Lots of Pizzas available in your local grocery store.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000. or at chrisbuysHomesstlouis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com or call 314-328-8000.
Hi, this is Kent Newbold for Newbold BMW. We just celebrated our 35th year as a BMW dealer by finishing our multi-million-dollar renovation. So come see it. It's Newbold BMW in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldbmw.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Furnish hope right here in St. Louis. Donate your unneeded furniture and household goods to Home Sweet Home. Visit www.homesweethomestl.org to learn more.
Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Find the car you want, new or used. Get it at Clement, get pre-approved. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. ClementAutoGroup.com.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 314-441-4444. Kevin Wheeler.
Nice.
Amy Markscourt.
Fabulous.
Chris Ranji.
Unbelievable.
On the show.
Hey, Ranch. What? Hook foomph.
Hook fumf.
Hook foomph.
Hook fumf.
High five.
That means high five?
High
In
five.
German?
I don't know if that would be the phrase they use. That is the literal high and five. But you know, like phrases cannot have the exact
Of
same
course,
meaning, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know
know-
that they use that to symbol. I don't even know if they high five. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's a dumb American thing.
I don't know. All I know.
High fives are great.
I agree, but I mean, we may not. I don't know that it's a worldwide phenomenon.
I'm trying to think if I've seen a international film where somebody high fives.
Anyway,
never mind. What am I asking you that question for?
We got a text of the 618, Amy.
I
that
love to
says-
read my movies.
It says, Amy, you're the bookworm.
Uh-huh.
Said that Wheels said it right, and he sounded like Billy Pilgrim from Vonnegut's book Slaughterhouse 5.
There you go.
And so it goes.
I appreciate
The
the
reference?
Vonnegut reference.
I don't get it.
Well, that's a character in the book.
Billy Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And I
In-
sounded
in
like
Slaughterhouse.
that. Does that how Billy Pilgrim sounded, or is that the kind of thing he would have said?
That's a good question.
Am I Billy Pilgrim?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
I don't even know what that would mean. I'm just asking because that texter
I'm
referenced
trying to
it.
think. It's been a really, really, really long time with Slaughterhouse 5. I was teaching Cat's Cradle, so I've read that one like 5
Okay.
times.
Mystery
Okay.
will resume.
So the mark score is very German, right? As the name implies.
Mm-hmm.
We would say, tell someone you love them today because life is short, but tell it to them in German because it's also terrifying and confusing. And that's how the German language sounds. Have you seen those videos of people saying words like pen or hospital or love in French, Italian, Spanish, English, and then the last guy says it in German?
Sounds like a threat.
It sounds like a threat. And two of my
Uh.
favorite words in German are ambulance and hospital. Because if you say, call an ambulance to take Ranj to the hospital, it would be call the Krankenwagen to go to the Krankenhaus. And I like Krankenwagen and Krankenhaus. Sounds super German. You guys could just go away, both of you.
You know how I know you're German, Amy? Because you're the worst.
Oh, no.
That's how I know.
You use an Amy joke against her.
Yeah.
Actually, that gets good points. Hey,
You're
speaking of all
welcome.
of this and speaking of the match
you're the
tonight,
worst.
we
And
haven't
speaking of
touched on it
food.
a lot yet. Yes, great local food at City Park. We're going to talk to Chef Gerard Kraft coming up after the news.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
All right. Funny story today. What happened at the office? I was trying to shred. It didn't do it. There was no noise. It wasn't doing anything. And Michelle, who is works in the office, she is truly a great employee. She goes, oh yeah, but sometimes if you shake it, she got up, she walked over and she shook it. She goes, now try it. And I put the document in, it worked. And she goes, see, there, fixed. That's the reason she's in the office and she's not one of my techs. That is true. So today, Wednesday, I'm gonna make this month every Wednesday. It's gonna be Michelle Day. Keep up the good work. Now, if you do need something fixed, it will not be Michelle that will be coming out. It'll be me and one of my great techs. So call me, Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. Just this one number and one name. 314-293-2600 or BartInman.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
Your home of the Chiefs. This is KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman. You can find us online at claymangroup.com, KLAMEN group.com. If you just inherited a property and you're not sure what you're going to do with it and you want an as-is sale, please reach out to us today. Especially with probate cases, we do a lot of work with the probate courts and we're very familiar with the confusing process. So if you have a house that you want to sell fast, maybe something that you just inherited, please reach out. Complete the form online and start the conversation today. claimandgroup.com, KLAMEN group.com.
It's here. Diamonds Direct's amazing pre-holiday store-wide sale. This weekend, 3 days of extra savings store-wide. That's an extra 20% off all earrings, all bracelets, all bands, all pendants, all fashion jewelry. Virtually everything in every case is on sale. The lowest prices of the year. And your last chance for store-wide savings before Christmas. You can't miss this. Engagement rings on sale. Eternity bands on sale. Exclusive designer jewelry on sale. Details at DiamondsDirect.com. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. And only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 1 o'clock, it's a cloudy sky and 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour is just in. Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky has been reelected as Republican leader, quashing a challenge from Senator Rick Scott of Florida. Republican senators met privately behind closed doors at the Capitol today. The vote was 37-10, with one other senator simply voting present. Ahead of the opening of its stadium tonight, St. Louis City SC today unveiled its first jersey with a sponsor and the team's main color prominently featured. KMOX's Stuart McMillan was at the announcement and is now live at the anchor desk. And Stuart, what does the jersey look like?
Well, it's red, and there's a bit of a debate on what kind of red it looks like, but they're officially calling it City Red, and that is the majority color for the entire jersey. There are 3 blue stripes on the shoulders, and it has a yellow fringe around it, giving it those St. Louis colors. And, of course, Purina slapped right on the front with other logos, BJC and Apple TV on the shoulders there as well.
And when's the first time we're going to see this on the pitch?
Well, we won't see it tonight. City 2 is not going to be wearing this jersey. This is only for the MLS official team, and that won't happen until the season starts next year. And we'll also get a peek at those away jerseys at that time as well. They won't release that until then.
Thank you very much. KMOX's Stuart McMillan. Tonight's first game at the new stadium is a friendly between City 2 and Bayer Leverkusen. But what's a friendly?
A friendly is another name for an exhibition game between two teams. You know, it doesn't count in the standings or towards a tournament or anything like that. It's just an exhibition game.
Dave Lang, author of the book, A History of the Game in America's First Soccer Capital, reminds us that for generations until the 80s, St. Louis was one of the only U.S. cities churning out waves of soccer players. NATO's chief and the president of Poland say there were no indications that a missile that fell on Polish farmland and killed 2 people was a deliberate attack. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says Poland's leader believes the missile came from Ukrainian air defense systems.
We're still gathering information, but we have seen nothing that contradicts President Duda's preliminary assessment that this explosion was most likely the result of a Ukrainian air defense missile that unfortunately landed in Poland.
NASA's most powerful rocket ever is sending an uncrewed capsule, Orion, on a journey to the moon on a mission intended to lead to returning astronauts to the moon by 2025. Artemis team member astronaut Christina Koch says more about the long-range goal.
It's the beginning of a next era. It's the beginning of building on all the lessons of Apollo and taking them even farther, bringing the lessons that we learned on this mission both back to Earth and also applying to even deeper space exploration going on to Mars.
Next Monday, Orion will fly within 60 miles of the lunar surface, then travel 40,000 miles beyond the moon for a glimpse of the Earth. The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk, a breather from rising rates.
If rising mortgage rates haven't pushed you out of the housing market yet, you're about to get a break. Rates fell nearly a quarter point last week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, falling back under 7% to 6.9%. Lowry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
Dow from Steeples down 38 points, just updated, down 44 points to 33,548. And we've got some debris on 370 going west at 70 East and also 70 West at West Florissant. The right lane is blocked. And some debris on 44 West past 7th. That's got the right lane closed. Weather is sponsored by Metro Transit.
All about a changeable sky as we go through our Wednesday afternoon, a mix of clouds and sunshine. And there's going to be pockets of snow flurries and snow burst from time to time. 35, that's it for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, windy and cold. 22 for the low, wind chills in the single numbers. Thursday, partly sunny, very cold start, but we'll try to warm it up to 42 Thursday afternoon. Friday, lots of sunshine. Don't let it fool you, though. The high temperature Friday, 29, 30 degrees. That's it Friday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Metro Transit. $28 says you click over to the free transit app. If you do, you will get $28 off a MetroLink November or December monthly Metro Pass through the end of the year, or save $12 when you download the app and buy a weekly Metro Pass. Don't want the app? You can get $28 off your monthly Metro Pass wherever you normally buy it. Previously discounted passes excluded. Cloudy and 34 in Florissant, 34 in St. Peters, and 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444.
105 on the show. Chris Rod, J.B. Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. 6 o'clock, we'll start our pregame coverage. Sorry, pre-match coverage. Damn it. Pre-match
you call
coverage.
It pre-match coverage?
I don't know, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's match, so we're going to call it pre-match coverage here on KMOX. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. We will have the play-by-play. Amy, you are part of the broadcast tonight.
I am part
what is
of the
your
broadcast.
Role?
I am the fan experience correspondent on today's broadcast on KMOX. So I will be
what does that mean?
Wandering all over City Park.
Oh,
I
nice.
think in the pregame, pre-match coverage, I'll be hanging out at Lou Fuse Plaza. So it's really cool because what they're going to do, and this will continue for every MLS game, every St. Louis City game at City Park. They're going to have basically events. They're going to have food, entertainment, vendors. There will be people there hours before the game. So the match, so what they want, this is going swimmingly.
By the way, I just want to put
anyway.
forth a motion. We call this the Kevin Killeen motion. It's okay for us to say game. I'm teasing when I'm doing the match thing. I don't want to, we don't need to be like, okay, well, look, it's a game.
I
It's a
disagree with you. It's
disagree?
a match.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
All right.
match.
I think well, maybe someone, if I'll lose my job in a couple.
Like if we say uniform, it's okay.
Nope, it's
No,
a kit.
it's a kit.
If you don't call it a kit, then,
Well, then
what-
why don't we say football instead of soccer?
Well, that's
because
taking it too far.
because we have a football.
Well, that's American football.
Yeah, we can't just. That's too much confusion.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing confusing about calling your jersey a kit.
So I can call it a field then.
Do you know? I think in track
Nope,
and
it's
field,
a pitch.
But nobody
Yeah.
knows what a pitch is.
I do now.
I mean,
my
a
gosh.
pitch, confusing.
Yeah.
That's what Adam Wainwright does.
Yeah, we
That's
already
a
have
different
a
kind of
pitch.
He throws a pitch.
Well, let me pitch something to you. We're going to call the soccer field a pitch.
Okay.
How about that?
I'm all good. It's fine.
Is that all
Rod's
right?
just kind of on today.
I'm always on.
No, you're not.
No.
What does that mean?
Well, it means sometimes
Anyway.
you're crabby and slow, but today.
Amy,
Well, how
I'm
fun was
sorry.
that?
I interrupted the fan experience reports.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about the fan experience reports where you're going to Enlighten us with whatever.
Yeah, with the experience of the fan.
Yeah.
The experience of the fan.
This fan's cheering. This fan's really bundled up. I'm cold. Back to you, Nate.
This one has pizza.
Yeah. Well, because you guys are the worst. Here's what I'm glad. I'm glad that you guys won't be on the broadcast tonight.
No, that's good.
But the Lufuse Plaza, they are going to have entertainment vendors, all this stuff before every match. So if you are bringing your family downtown to City Park, you want to get there early. You want to make this an experience. I know in NFL games they'll have tailgating, but this is like an official party. They want to view every match as an event. So we will be talking about what's happening out at Lufuse Plaza. Then inside the stadium, it's really state-of-the-art technology they're using for the food. So they're going to have 100% locally owned, sourced food vendors. And soccer is different than football or baseball, where you kind of get up and move around during the game. And soccer, it's when you get your food, it's really focused on halftime. So there is this halftime rush. And then for the first and second half, people are in their seats. So in order to make the process way quicker, more efficient, a lot of the vendors are going to have it available to order on an app during the first half.
Oh, nice.
And then when you walk up,
It's ready.
it's ready to go.
I love that.
I love order ahead.
I know. It's
Yeah.
great for everything.
It is.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world.
Yep. And they'll have markets. They'll have 3 markets throughout City Park as well, where you can just walk in and swipe your credit card, and then you get
Nice.
the food. So that way you can take the time that you're in line, from minutes and minutes
Because you got to go to the bathroom
seconds.
too during that
Mhm.
time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so the food's going to be great. And of course, there is the supporter section, which is 3,000 fans. So City Park holds 22,500 fans. Then there's the supporter section.
This is where the rowdies are.
It's where the
Saint-
rowdies
Oh,
this is
I
are.
where
love the
This is where
rowdies.
the St. Luligans are, right?
They'll be there as well. And they block off the seats. They lock and block the seats where the rowdy section is, the supporter section, so you can't sit down. So this section is standing room only. It's for fans who are chanting and singing. There's going to be drum beats the entire time.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, the stadium will always be loud, but this section right here will be where the noise is really
When
concentrated.
I mentioned the St. Luligans, and I meant to mention this earlier, but they're actually going to be collecting money for Heat Up St. Louis today too at the match.
Oh yeah, right.
So at their tailgate. So if you go to @SillyTailgate on Twitter, the details of where they're going to be and and when they're going to be there, all that. But if you can drop by and donate some money, that's going to go to Heat Up St. Louis. It's that time of year, man. It got cold real fast, and it's a good reminder that there are going to be people dealing with the cold that need help, and the St. Luligans are going to be doing some of that tonight during the tailgate, during the pregame. So again, @SillyTailgate on Twitter if you want to find out more about that.
And going back to the supporter section, which is very cool. Again, there's that metal canopy over it. So all the sound, all of the noise will be just projected back down on the field. But it's also the steepest seating section in Major League Soccer. So what it does is it amplifies the sound even more, because you're condensing it. The sound waves can't really go up the seats. It's just going to hit the wall and go back down.
Nice. Question for you guys.
Sure.
So Amy, as a runner, Ron, you played tennis competitively
Yeah.
back in the day?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be these specific things, but we're joking about all the soccer things that we all get wrong, like game instead of match, pitch instead of field, all that. Are there things in other sports that people refer to and say incorrectly that drive you nuts? Like if they're saying something like, is there a running term, Amy, that some other dope like me would not understand or know?
Yes.
What would that be?
If I told you that in my training schedule, I run in the morning and run in the evening on some days, you would call those
runs.
Well, yeah. Like if you had 2 practices, what would you call it?
2 a day?
2 days. I call them 2 days, and I get so much crap because apparently in the running world, they're doubles.
Oh.
My coach literally
'Cause-
told me to stop saying 2 days. They're not called 2 days.
That's like
2 days is like a football
thing.
practice
Right.
term.
I've called them 2 days my whole life.
Yeah.
Even when and even in running, I've been running for years, and I called them 2 days. And he said, no, they're called doubles. So that would be one of them.
You got one?
No, not that
got
I can
one.
think of.
I got one.
No.
I hate it when people put the in front of MLB. It drives me crazy.
Oh.
It's not the MLB. It's just MLB.
Do people
Please
say
stop
the
it.
MLB?
All the time. It's super irritating. It's not the MLB. It's
Or
just
what about
MLB.
NFL football?
Yeah, right. It's
Oh, yeah.
football's in the name.
It's in
You know, the thing
the
bothers
it's
me
the F.
when the golf announcer's like, "Oh, what a golf shot!" Really? I thought it was polo.
Do you know, I will say this about Major League Baseball, probably why they call it the MLB is because they think the major leagues.
Yes, right.
And then they combine them.
Yeah, it's just not that. So don't do that anymore. All right, Chef Gerard Kraft is going to join us coming up next. We're talking about all that local food and the options at City Park. We'll touch on those when we come back here on the show.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio. You can also call me now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
The Vietnam War united and divided our nation. A fracture still felt 5 decades later. Vietnam at War and at Home, a new exhibit at Soldiers Memorial Military Museum, examines how the St. Louis region contributed to the dramatic storylines of this pivotal period of war, protest, tragedy, and change. From photos of the front lines to popular music to the experiences of those who served and the refugees who fled and settled here, the exhibit illuminates the Vietnam era and offers connections to today.
Carol Daniel for Ophthalmology Associates. For the best eye doctors, you need to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Online at youridoc.com or 314-966-5000.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. We continue shining a light on great work by nonprofits. Meet Unleashing Potential, known by its initials UP. UP focuses on discovering and unleashing the very best in each child they assist. Busey Bank is proud to partner with Unleashing Potential to help them fulfill their mission. Listen to our November podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
Live and local, this is St. Louis's News Radio, KMOX.
All right, back into the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marscores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We've been spending a lot of time previewing the action on the field tonight and talking about all the things that go into City Park, not just the inaugural match tonight with City 2 going up against Bayer Leverkusen, but also what we're going to be experiencing as time goes by. Obviously, the MLS season is going to kick off in the spring. And one of the things we've talked a lot about would be the food options there. And we're talking to Chef Gerard Kraft now on the Quiver River Guest Line. Of course, he's also one of the co-owners of the Niche Food Group. All kinds of great spots in town, Pastaria, Fordo's Pizza, and obviously the list goes on and on down the line. Chef Kraft, we appreciate you. Thanks for jumping on today. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Glad to do it. So talk about your involvement in what they're doing at City Park. I know we touched on it briefly a couple of times earlier, just kind of the ideas behind it and what the entire group is doing. Tell us about your part.
Yeah, so I came on with the team about 3 years ago before we broke ground. to kind of really start thinking about what the experience could be like on the food side. And, you know, we had seen it done horribly a lot. You know, we knew there was more to be done when it came to match day. And we knew that some people, you know, come to experience the match, and some people, you know, come for the fun of the party. And, you know, we wanted to provide for everybody.
And this is the only MLS stadium to have 100% local food vendors. Was this something that you knew you guys wanted to do from the start, or did that idea evolve as you discussed it further?
We knew we wanted it to be heavily, but we also knew that we didn't want any major chains in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the thing is that, you know, I definitely set my expectations a little lower, you know, that you can't control everything going into, you know, a project this large, and there's a lot of money at play when it comes to those sponsorship dollars. But you know what, the ownership group really stood up and said, we want this to be something special. Let's really go for it and not take any of those big marketing dollars for that.
Let's talk about some of the offerings that are going to be there. I mean, like you mentioned, it's all locally owned, and a lot of these places I have been to for myself. Some of them I've not seen yet or been to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so Shea Ali, you know, one of my favorites. You know, we brought them into the City Foundry as well. It's Senegalese and Caribbean.
Oh yeah, that place is really good.
Very, very good. And, you know, it's flown under the radar in North Kings Highway for so long. So I'm very excited to see that. You know, Qui Tran has his Nudo Goonies, which are all kind of like crab rangoons. He's going to have different flavors of those. You know, Balkan Street Box, you know, is one of my favorite restaurants of all time. They're going to be in there. You know, the Block crew is going to be serving, you know, meat pies and burgers. You know, Farm Truck. God, I mean, the list. Didi Mao. So much just good food. I can go on and on.
You know, it's great.
It'd be hard to choose for sure.
Yeah, and it's great that, I mean, like, I think we all appreciate the part that it's cool and it's local, which gives it some uniqueness. But it's also not often, and I'm not trying to be too much of a suck up here, Gerard, but I mean, it's not often either that you associate a sporting event with someone that is a James Beard Award winner. You know, I mean, we're also talking about a high end of food too, not just high end, but it's kind of a nice variety of, you know, Steve's hot dogs and some of the stuff that is a little bit would be considered a little bit higher end.
Yeah, you know, Malinche, which is a Mexican restaurant in the kind of Ellisville, Baldwin area, you know, serves some, you know, possibly the best Mexican food in St. Louis, and it's a pretty high end spot. But they're going to be serving tacos in the Ultra Club. So yeah, I mean, we really have the top players of all their categories. Some under the radar, some not so much. But the food's going to be incredible.
And I imagine you have to be strategic with that as well, because we're talking about high-end restaurants and it's just the highest quality of food. And to translate that to a stadium atmosphere can't be easy. I imagine you have to pick the food selection, the ingredients, and the way it's prepared. Take all of that into account.
Yeah, you know, and I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for some involved in this. But I have no doubt that everybody we've picked is, you know, they're just such strong players. They're just strong people, right? You know, they know how to get things done and figure things out. We're not really dealing with any amateurs here. So, you know, these are all places when we looked at these lists, it's like, where do I want to go eat? And you know, that was pretty fun to be able to, you know, eat at all these places and say, okay, these are some of the places that I really enjoyed the most and that could also fit in. And then we also had to kind of represent, you know, different cultures, communities, different locations throughout St. Louis. So there was a lot of balancing in the selections as well. Is we want this to kind of be a place where people come and then leave here and say, I really want to experience the place, in North City or in South County where these people are from.
And that's something that originally drew you to St. Louis, correct? That you liked the mix of new construction, new communities, as well as the old architecture and the culture that was already in St. Louis.
Yeah, and this stadium really, really kind of represents that, in the heart of kind of old downtown with Union Station and so many kind of old loft buildings surrounding it, and then this beautiful modern structure kind of right in the center. And the getting to work with HOK and Snow Architects on this was also just fascinating. Some of the best designers and architects in the world really going to work on this.
It's funny you said what you did a few moments ago about if you're looking for a place to eat, like what the offerings that are going to be at the stadium, it's like a list of the best places to go. And I'm looking at the press release from STL City that they just put out a couple of days ago with all the offerings. And it literally is, it's just a list of like some of the best places in the city. And you're looking at, what do I want to have for dinner tonight? Oh, I'll just check out this press release. And they're all going to be at that stadium. That's remarkable.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's really cool. And I'm just so thankful that a lot of these people trusted us to do this, because, on the flip side of things is that I think a lot of these, restaurants are kind of skeptical to go into sporting arenas. A lot of the times it's just a licensing deal. And then, they say, hey, we're going to take your name and your recipes and we'll recreate it, which is, in my opinion, never a great scenario. So these are all operated by these people too.
Okay.
So it's their teams, their staff coming in and working these spots.
Yeah, that's a really big deal, because the people who know how to do it are going to be there preparing everything on game day. So that's perfect. Gerard, you've been all over the place, and you've been in the St. Louis restaurant scene for a long time. Where does this city compare? How does it compare to some of the other cities in this region and nationally as far as food goes?
It's always one of those things where it's like, I wish St. Louis would just blow up, say, like Nashville or something, getting more national recognition. Because quite frankly, St. Louis's food scene is better than almost any that I've been to. But I think it's like, careful what you wish for, right? Like, I love how organic St. Louis has grown, and it doesn't feel fake. I bring people here from all over the world, and people are always blown away by what we have to offer in St. Louis. It's really incredible. Even just since I've been here since 2005, I mean, just the past 5 to 7 years, the explosion of great young talent opening spots all over the place.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us. Congrats on the work, man. I know it's been a lot. I know there's still work to do to make sure it all takes off the way that you want and maintains. You guys will figure all of that out. As you mentioned, you guys are all problem solvers and doers. We appreciate that effort, though. Looking forward to sampling everything. And now I'm really hungry, so now I'm thinking about what I want to do for dinner.
Yeah, come to the game. We'll be here.
Yeah,
I'll
good
be
stuff.
there. I'll be there.
Gerard, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You've got it. That is Chef Gerard Kraft. He is obviously a partner with the Niche Food Group. So places like the Pastaria, Braswell, Fordo's Pizza, which is in the Foundry, so many others. You can find him, by the way, and a list of all of those on Twitter at Gerard F. Kraft. And then if you just go to the website, STL City SC, all kinds of great information there about the places. And he listed a whole bunch of them. And there's so many more that we just didn't have time to list them all. But I mean, we're talking about, what is it, a total of, let's see, 52 places in the stadium.
Like you said, the Fattened Calf, Caldy's Coffee, Crown Candy, Dewey's Pizza, Pie Guys, Mayo Ketchup. That's
that Shea Ali place he's talking about in the Foundry is awesome.
Really good.
It's so good.
Well, we appreciate that work. Looking forward to sampling all of that at some point when we get over to City Park. Hey, coming up next, Maria Keene is going to join us from the KMOX newsroom. Today this week is the 50th anniversary of the first woman to be assigned as a single officer patrol in St. Louis County. Tell you a bit about that, and Maria's going to tell us some stories next.
The time has arrived to introduce a world-class stadium to soccer fans throughout the region.
To the left side of the box, he can pick a pass with the left foot of the byline. Cuts it back.
St. Louis City 2 hosts Bundesliga powerhouse Bayer Leverkusen at City Park in an international friendly.
Right foot ball in front. Olstruck, he scores!
History will be made tonight. Pre-game coverage begins at 6, kick-off at 7. And you can hear it exclusively on KMOX and KMOX.com. We were built for this.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-5555. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, behind on taxes houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-5555. That's 314-782-5555.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
The pain was so bad, it felt like I was walking on knife blades. It took my life away. And my doctor recommended that I go to Good Feet. I took about 4 steps to start to cry. It was the first time that I had no pain. I'm not an actor. I want people to know, whether you're young or old, these are life-changing. I've tried the rest. The best is Good Feet. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Let's go to the ballpark. We're going to Monster Jams. We're going camping. My attitude's changed. I'm a happier man. I'm like a regular dad now. The kids have seen that change and that confidence in dad, and they like the new dad.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
At 1:30, it's a cloudy sky and 34 degrees downtown at the Arch. Tonight is the first game at the new City Park as St. Louis City 2 takes on Germany's Bayer Leverkusen. It's live on KMOX at 7 p.m. As temperatures drop, you have a chance to help heat up St. Louis, which assists those behind on energy bills. The St. Louligans fan group is collecting donations tonight at its tailgate party. Lionel Messi played the entire game in Argentina's final World Cup warm-up and scored in a 5-0 rout of the United Arab Emirates as the pre-tournament favorites stretched their unbeaten run to 36 games. Senate Democrats are moving ahead with legislation to protect same-sex and interracial marriage. Democrats are acting now as they face the prospect of divided government in the next Congress. Politico reports Missouri Republican Roy Blunt says he's a yes vote. Right now, emergency vehicles on 370 West past 94. The right lane is closed. Some debris on 370 West at 70. Some more debris on 70 West at West Florissant has the right lane closed. And Dave Murray's forecast, cloudy this afternoon. Some snow flurries at times, a high of 35. Overnight, windy and cold, the low 22. For tomorrow, slightly warmer, but still cold with a high of 42 degrees. It's 34 at the moment downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Business is difficult right now, putting a lot of good workers at risk. If you're a business that needs flexibility with your workforce and don't want to lose your best employees, go to sharedwork.mo.gov and see what the Missouri Department of Labor can do for you.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sarah, how many times have you opened a door and been surprised by the amount of junk hiding behind it?
Lots of times.
Yes, and during junk reproductive season, we receive lots of boxes of new items, and there's no place to put them because all the storage spaces have gone JE.
JE?
Junk Exponential.
Is this junk reproductive season?
Yes, Sarah, it is.
Have no fear. We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomes.louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. or call 314-328-8000.
Your home of the Cardinals.
Arenado swings and hits it deep to left field. That ball is out of here.
The Billikens.
Jumper. Yes! Billikens win!
The Chiefs.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
We are America's sports voice. KMOX.
I'm back on the show. Chris Raji, Amy Marks, Kors, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We are joined by our very own Maria Kina. And, of course, Maria is going to help us out with the conversation. I didn't know this until recently, but this week we found out it was the 50th, I found out it was the 50th anniversary of the first time that a woman had been assigned to a single officer patrol, and that happened in St. Louis County. And obviously, Maria, your mom was a police officer. This is something that you cover the police on a regular daily basis. What does this mean to you? Like, what is this story? How would you start off with this story, this anniversary?
Well, I think it's a big deal. The fact that they let an officer, a female officer, go out in the car by herself for the first time. It was an acknowledgement that, yes, police women can be just as effective as police men can be. It was still very new, still a big, steep hill for them to climb. Because it was so unusual to have a woman in the police department.
And Maria, your mom was a police officer, and I know that you have a ton of stories that I would love for you to share with us. So where do you want to start? Maybe start with how she got into law enforcement, or just a story that embodies her. I mean, you take it away. We want to hear about your mom.
Well, she got into the police department because she wanted to protect people. That was her main reason. And a little funny note, she loved parades and always would hope that she'd get put on a parade detail. But the main purpose was to, she was a single mom with me and my grandmother and wanted to be able to protect us and herself. And so it was very rare. There were only 2 other police officers when she was looking at this and contemplating going into the police department. And they were in the rape squad. Mm-hmm. So those were 2 really, I would say, mentors almost to my mom, because they had been there already for some time. Because St. Louis City, I believe, had female police officers before the county did. They were back in the 60s. So funny stories. Okay, so I grew up with KMOX, the radio next to my bed, and the police scanner. And I listened to
Funny what that led to, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of what you do in the newsroom.
That's literally
You're
how you
just
live.
listening to the scanner.
Oh my gosh.
Maria, you're like me. We just never grew up. We do the same things we did when we were young.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like people say, how can you concentrate? And I'm like, I don't know how I concentrate. I just do it. I tune out what's not important and then I listen to what's important. So I wasn't able to drive and I had an older cousin. And, it was pretty scary to have your mom be a police officer because I would hear the calls that she would go on at night and I'd hear her respond back. So it was pretty terrifying for me. And when I got a little bit older, I got my cousin and I said, look, we got to go check this out where mom is tonight. Like she'd be on, maybe a standoff situation. And all of a sudden, my older cousin and I would drive up. My mom would turn around and look at me and say, what are you doing here? Get out of this situation. Why are you here? I remember there was a really big fire in one of the warehouses, an abandoned warehouse downtown. And it was huge. And she turned around and she was all covered in soot. And she turned around. She's like, Maria, what are you doing here? And I'm like, are you okay? What's going on? I hear this is a really bad fire. I can see it's a really bad fire. So we struggled a lot in that area because she never knew when I was going to show up on a police call.
Oh,
this
boy.
sounds like, I'm not even kidding. This needs to be a book and then eventually a TV show.
Like, daughter, leave me alone.
And yeah, I mean, because, and I wanted to become a police officer and she discouraged me from doing that. So I said, okay, I'll take the other side of it then. But she had great stories. She had horrible stories. I could tell when it was a really bad night. I can remember one story in particular. There was she had a partner. It was a homicide. They had just gotten a pizza before they got the call. And they went on the call. They finished it up. Homicide came on the scene. They left. Her partner was scarfing down the pizza. And mom was like, how can you be eating at a time like this, after what we saw? So I know she saw a lot. I'm very proud of her, though, that she was, and I don't want to start crying, but she just wanted to take care of people. And she was a good police officer and a fair police officer.
What sorts of challenges did she face, not just with the job itself, but because at that time there weren't many like her, anywhere. And I'm sure she had a difficult time with coworkers even because they probably didn't really accept the fact she was there.
No. And you had to prove yourself over and over again. You had to go way beyond what the men were doing to prove that, hey, when you get out on that street and you need backup, I'm not going to cower around a corner somewhere. I'm going to be right alongside you. And my mom did that very early in her career. She went back down. And I think that was the biggest thing. The male police officers, they had never worked with women before. And, supposedly we're the weaker sex. And they didn't know what it was going to be like. So that was a big hurdle that she had to overcome, but got a lot of respect from her fellow officers.
And she was not large in stature, but
No.
she was a firecracker in personality, right?
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. I remember being so proud of her, looking at her in that uniform. And I mean, every night she'd come home. That's when they still had the brass on their belts. And she'd shine her boots. She'd shine her brass every night. Her belt, and they didn't carry all the apparatus. They didn't have tasers and all of that back then. All that they had were what was called a nightstick. Now they call them batons. But that was another thing. She never, ever relied on that gun. She was very much wanted to talk with people, feel the situation out. That doesn't mean she wouldn't react. It's just that she went through extensive training and they always taught you, don't take that gun out because you're going to have to use it if you take the gun out.
It's funny the way she's described, smaller firecracker, because I work with somebody who's just like her.
Hey.
I wonder who that is.
It's you.
I know. I truly am my mom. And, as we get older, I think we even get more like our parents.
Yeah.
But the other thing that was difficult at the time when I started, when I became 16 and started driving, and even older, I couldn't go anywhere because all the police officers knew me.
Oh.
And I remember one incident in particular. I had been out with my older cousins and I might have drank 2 beers, which was too much for me. I would get sick. And we went into my cousin took me into a fast food store. We go into the bathroom, but as we're walking towards there, it's a police officer that I know.
Oh.
And he says, Maria, are you all right? And now, mind you, I reeked like a brewery. and he goes, Maria, talk to me. And my cousin turns around and looks at him. She goes, oh, officer, she's having a gallbladder attack. She's very sick right now.
What in the world?
A gallbladder attack. Of all the things to go to.
Exactly.
No, she didn't just have an upset stomach from some bad food. Nope, it's a gallbladder attack.
It's a gallbladder attack. And he looked at me and he looked at my cousin, and I know he was thinking, yeah, right. I can smell you for one thing. Or if I'd go to a concert, I would be sitting there because, as I said, I'm an only child. So my cousins were like my siblings, and they'd take me to a concert, and I'd get home and mom knew every position I was in, where I was, what I was doing. I'm like, have you got like the narc guys watching me? And she's like, yeah. They just watch over you to make sure everything's okay. So and then the other thing was, you can't leave the 2nd district. Well, that limited us with what we could do, because she wanted me to stay there because it was safe.
She had eyes on you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it was a pretty different childhood for most kids, especially not having a father growing up in that time, because kids were a little, how shall we say, kids can be mean.
Yeah.
And the fact that you didn't have a dad, but your mom was a police officer was very unusual.
Wow.
So
we're getting, Maria, we're getting texts in here that want to ask you questions. First of all, 314 Officer Texty is who signed this one. Officer Texty says, God bless those ladies and their families. I thank them for the great legacy from the bottom of my heart. So that's a very cool text message.
It is.
We got another one, Maria, because we haven't mentioned your mom's name yet, but we have a texter that says, ask Maria what her mother's name was. It'd be really nice to know for some of the old guys who retired 20 years ago, 23 years ago, that worked on the 4th, the 9th, and the 5th districts.
Exactly. She was in the 9th for a while. And also she was in intelligence and did some time in the 3rd too. Amalia was her first name, which nobody could pronounce. So they all used to call her Lee.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, she was there when so many of the old timers were there. She came in at that time. So, and a lot of them have retired now. Many, almost all of them have retired, I would say. And even some have passed on.
Just for the point of perspective, I mean, you're thinking about these things now that are normal. I'm not saying that things are even or equal, or that there aren't challenges for women in the military or on police forces all across this area, all across the country, but such a different time. And even if you remember, and I'm sure you do, Maria, the way that advertising was written back then, and the commercials were all about the little ladies in the home and that kind of stuff. Yeah. The juxtaposition of those two things, of these pioneering women taking this kind of a job and really laying the groundwork, and the way that society perceived women as a whole back then, is just remarkable.
It is. It truly is, because, they were expected to stay home and have a family, but it didn't always work out that way, and they had to make a living. So my mom wanted to get something that was secure. Eventually, I made my mom quit before it was her time, and she went to work for the city then, because I truly emotionally couldn't handle it. It was just because things were getting tough.
Yeah.
You'd hear the police calls and shots were fired, and I was just a basket case. And then even I only had my driver's permit, and I'd put my grandma in the car then if I couldn't get my cousin and go to where she was.
Yeah.
So it was not normal what I was doing. I realized that, but she was my mom,
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned that her colleagues, they hadn't worked with a female police officer before, so she had to prove herself time and time again. I don't know if she shared this with you, but did she ever talk about like suspects or people that she was confronting that may have been surprised to be confronted by a female police officer?
Yes, there is one in particular. It was a man around the college church who at Easter time used to put a crown of thorns around his head and nails in his hand.
Oh.
And and this was on Easter Sunday, and he was a tall man, large man, and mom was 5'2". So, the male officers sometimes, how should I say, they couldn't communicate as well as maybe when they would see a female officer come along. They'd be, at least then, a little bit more willing to listen to a police officer. My mom pretty much struck up a relationship with him, and she would tell him, Freddie, you can't come around the church like this on Easter because you scare people. Your hands are bleeding. And he listened to her. He never listened to the guys, the male officers. But when mom came on the scene, they just had an understanding, and he would move on then. And so it was things like that I think. And there's a lot of ways that women have an advantage over a man, I think, when you're dealing with children sometimes. And, some of the things that we're seeing now with the crisis unit that responds on these incidents, they didn't have that back then.
No, really, really good point. Maria, I could literally do this all day. This feels like we could do a long podcast, like long form podcast on this stuff. But thank you so much for sharing your stories. Great to hear and we'll use the nickname, great to hear some of the stories that Lee was involved with back in the day. And it's just fascinating. I don't know. It's obviously we're talking about an anniversary, but these stories are fun to tell, and I wish we took time to do it more often.
I'm glad you did too, because it's a well worth story being told.
And now I feel like I have a deep understanding of why it always feels like you're on to me.
Well, Raj, everybody's on
she
me, buddy.
is. She knows I'm up to something. Why does she always know?
Now we know. Maria, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
It's great to talk to you guys. Take care.
You got it. That's Maria Kina from our newsroom, and talking about her mom. And again, it's 50 years is a long time, but the 50th anniversary this week of the first woman to be assigned as a single officer patrol that happened in St. Louis County. And obviously the stories about her mom, Lee, are fascinating.
What about those two pillars of St. Louis history and St. Louis community and Maria Kina and her mom, Lee, a police officer, Maria Kina working at the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX. I mean, think of how many people have gotten news from her, updates, a trusted voice. We all know her voice. My goodness, those two women are a huge part of St. Louis.
So many thanks to Maria for joining us. She is absolutely the best. We'll come back and wrap up the show next here on KMOX.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more, live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hotel St. Louis is looking forward to sharing Thanksgiving at your home or ours. Bring your party to Union 30 or take Union 30 home. Either way, Hotel St. Louis does the hard part. Traditional turkey or ham with all the trimmings, sides, and desserts to choose from. Relax and enjoy the feast with your guests in your home or at the magnificent Union 30 in the historic St. Louis Hotel. To order or make reservations, call Union 30 this week at 314-241-4300. That's 314-241-4300.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AAMCO.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want, and Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000. Home Sweet Home mission is to give underserved families a sense of pride and to improve the quality of their lives by providing basic household furnishings. To learn more, go to homesweethomestl.org.
Hi, this is Kent Newbold at Newbold Toyota. Since we led the St. Louis Metro in Toyota sales in August, the factory gave us a whole bunch of cars. So come see us. Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 314-441-4444. Amy Marks Course.
This is my show, my microphone.
On the show.
All right, Dave Glover Show coming up after the news. Later on tonight, we have got the first match at City Park.
Yes.
Amy, you're going over there. You're not walking over there in this cold, are you?
She gonna be walking around like it's freaking freezing around here.
Yeah, I know. It's cold.
I don't know. All I know is I will be at City
You should
Park.
run.
I will be the fan experience correspondent, and if you listen to the game, it will be like you're there.
The match. The concourse
on the
level.
pitch.
This is I'm gonna mess up during the broadcast. I'm thinking of your dumb face laughing at me.
And you're going to be like, damn it.
And then I'm going to start laughing.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. You'll say, darn it.
Okay, what?
Yeah, she
Ron?
doesn't swear.
Yeah.
The concourse level, because I haven't been over there. I've only driven by a bunch of times. It makes one big circle, right? Like one big rectangle.
You mean outside?
Yes,
of it?
Yeah, the
it's a
concourse
circle
level.
that's just like a rectangle.
Okay. You know what I mean? I'm talking about being connected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
That would suck if there was
you know
like
what
a
your
wall.
Your gimmick could be.
You have to turn around and go back.
Here's what your thing could be. You could just be the person who the entire game runs
Around.
in a rectangle around.
I'm not even kidding. 20 years ago, we went on a cruise, and there was a man on this cruise ship, and there was a track, like a walking track on the very top, of the cruise ship. And he had on all white every day, white shoes, white socks, white shorts, white shirt, white hat. And he would walk around on that track all day on this cruise ship. Nothing else. He was always there. He was very tan. And I don't know why he was on a cruise to walk on that track.
Food. He's walking off all the calories of the food you're
That's
eating on
all
the
he
cruise.
did then. He didn't do any excursions.
Interesting. Also, sidebar from the topic we were talking about. Anyway,
Hey,
this show is over.
Well, but you can go back and listen. You can go back and listen, Kevin, to whatever you missed on KMOX.com and the Odyssey app.
The Odyssey app.
Let's go.
Dave Glover Show coming up next here on KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brendan. Do you have a home or a business made out of stone or brick? If so, listen up, because Morelli Tuck Pointing is the masonry specialist.